Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Cooling Center for the pregame show to the Bowling Green hockey team here as they are going to face off against the Northern Michigan Wildcats. With the game coming to you live from Slater Ice Arena tonight, with Bowling Green currently at a 7-5-3 record, 5-3-3 in the conference. Currently third in the CCHA against the Wildcats, who are 1-16, picking up their first win last night against the Falcons, and currently are 1-8 in the conference. So we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, me and Kevin Hutchinson will bring you both of the team analysis and what we're going to see, or what we think we're going to see in the game tonight. Stay tuned.
After a 3-week break, the BGSU hockey team returns to the ice on Monday, December 29th. The Falcons will be hosting the Team USA National Developmental U18 team. Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak and Dan Ridenauer will have the call starting at 5:45 p.m. for pregame and puck drop at 6:07 on WBGU 88.1 FM, the home of Falcon hockey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into the Cooling Center for tonight's matchup, the pregame show to the Bowling Green Falcons versus the Northern Michigan Wildcats. I'm Austin Roos, and I am joined here by
Kevin Hutchinson. Happy to be here with you tonight.
And we are going to now bring you the keys and some of the things that we expect to see tonight from Bowling Green, some of the things going into this matchup, some of the storylines.
Yeah, for sure, Austin. I think, BG really needs to rebound. Last night, obviously, a very disappointing result for the Falcons, losing to a previously winless team. Really goes to show that the CCHA is a competitive conference and that every game is worth watching. I think BG, they're just going to have to work on being aggressive early. In last night's game, they didn't score until the third period, and that was a big reason for them not being able to pull out the win. And also just, working better on defense. BG only had 5 blocks last night compared to 14 for Northern Michigan, so they're just going to have to improve in some of those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned it. Bowling Green, of course, last night led in shots in total on the game, but ended up coming out with the 3-2 loss and giving Northern Michigan their first win of the season. In the third period, 20 shots on goal versus Northern Michigan's only 3, but at the end of it, it was still just 2-1 in that period, and it wasn't enough for the Falcons to come back at the end.
No, just a classic example of too little, too late, and I think it also shows the importance of, you never want to underestimate a conference opponent. You never want to sort of look past a conference opponent. I think it was easy for the Falcons to do that because, going into last night's game, they had won 5 of their previous 6. They were at home. It was against a winless team, but it goes to show you got to be at your best on a night-to-night basis, and you got to be able to put together 3 periods of cohesive team hockey. We just didn't see that from the Falcons yesterday. There was some hope at the end, Connor Levis and Brody Waters scoring in the third period. But I think tonight, if the Falcons are going to succeed, they have to get started earlier in the game and really be aggressive in that first period.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot throughout this season. The Falcons, when they're at their best, is when they're scoring fast and they're scoring early. You mentioned it, some of the names last night that came up, Connor Levis and Brody Waters. We're seeing some of these younger players in Connor Levis and players that are kind of stepping up both in a veteran role, like Brody Waters, a junior, and Connor Levis, a younger player. How do you think those two are kind of meshing, both the veterans and the younger players, so far this season for the Falcons?
Well, I think it's a testament to, Dennis Williams' ability as a coach that this roster is meshing so well. I think with hockey it is a little different because, these aren't like the freshmen on the team. They're not 18 years old. Like they've been in juniors. They've been in Ontario, British Columbia, like all those semi-pro leagues for the past 2 or 3 seasons. So they have a lot of experience. But I think when you have young players making big contributions, that really helps. I mean, Noah Morneau, he's a freshman, and yet he leads the team with 7 goals. So when you're able to get the most out of those young guys, not only does it give you hope for the current season, but it gives you hope for future seasons because those guys are going to stay in your program and they're going to keep developing as time goes on.
Yeah, we saw all the goals for the Falcons last night. Both of the goals come in super close to the net. Chip-in shots, rebound shots. That's kind of been a lot of the scoring this year for the Falcons. It's not from those shots that they're taking sort of on the outside or further back. It's more of the up-close, gritty, in-your-face, rebound, get the puck, and score kind of goals.
Yeah, and obviously it's not the most maybe artistic way to play hockey, but even if you win ugly, you got to find a way to win. I mean, now almost halfway through the season, getting into this December stretch here. I mean, every conference game matters. And so they're going to be looking to pick up a conference win tonight, especially because after this, the Falcons have that exhibition against USA Hockey. Then they have a series against Ohio State. So they get a bit of a break from conference play. But after that, it's pretty much mostly conference play the rest of the way. There's a series against Notre Dame in there. But other than that, it's all conference games. And so every game matters, and they're just going to be looking to sort of regain their momentum, especially after last night.
Absolutely. And tossing it to the other side of things with Northern Michigan Wildcats, what do you kind of expect to see from them, or what are some of the things coming into this game for them?
I mean, I think I expect to see a lot of aggression. I think last night showed that I think they proved to themselves that they have what it takes to win. In this conference, obviously, it's only one win, but that still gives them motivation, still gives them hope and excitement. So they're going to come in raring to go tonight. But, I mean, I still think that they're going to try to get activated early. They're going to try to get the edge in terms of physicality. And Caden Galt, who scored his 6th goal of the season yesterday, he's definitely going to be a player to watch as well.
Absolutely. Last night for Northern Michigan, William Graham, the goalie for them, coming up with a huge game, a 94% save percentage on the season. That records the second best for him so far this year. And a couple of those saves came super late in the game with the lead on the line still 3-2. Came up with a couple huge saves to keep the lead and keep the first win of the season for them.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to be looking for him to still be on point tonight. You know, it's interesting sort of the goaltender situation that BG has, you know, with Jacob Steinman and Tyler Palmer kind of splitting starts. Seems like head coach Dennis Williams, he's still trying to kind of work out which one of those guys is going to be the future of this team. But yeah, BG's just going to definitely want to work on their goaltending and their defense. I mean, as I said, only 5 blocked shots. Like the goaltender last night, Palmer, he wasn't really getting a ton of help in his defense. And so that's something they're going to want to work on tonight for sure.
Absolutely. And another thing to note for Northern Michigan, in 14 of their 17 games so far this season, they have allowed 3+ goals. Last night, obviously, was one of the games where it didn't happen. What are we seeing from Northern Michigan in last night's game that maybe they weren't able to replicate earlier in the season?
Yeah, I think you just saw the effect of them. I think just their persistence. I mean, I think it's important to remember, you know, there's a lot of talent in the CCHA, and Northern Michigan, you know, their head coach Dave Shayak, he was a captain on their 1991 national championship team, former player for the Wildcats. So it's personal to him. He knows what it's like to wear that uniform, and I think maybe the team is finally starting to believe a little bit. But, I mean, they're going to look to replicate that tonight for sure.
Absolutely. And we're going to go and step away for a break. For the moment, when we come back, we will have another roundtable with some of the things we expect to see. Then we will go and check around the CCHA, what's happening tonight in the action. And then we will have our Falcon 4 keys to the game. You're not going to want to miss that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Bowling Green men's basketball takes on the Kent State Golden Flashes at the Mack Center in Kent on Tuesday, January 6th. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavalitz and Foster Rosti will have the call with pregame starting at 6:35 and tip-off set for 7 o'clock, live on Falcon Radio.
You could listen to WBGU 88.1 FM, or you could be part of the action. Volunteer with WBGU FM in a variety of roles, including on-air, promotions, social media, music selection, and more. For more information, visit the WBGU Facebook page. Volunteer with Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU 88.1 FM, the return to radio freedom.
The Falcon women's track team will take a short trip south to take on the Findlay Oilers on Thursday, December 4th at 10 a.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Dawson Pelter will have a recap of the meet following its conclusion on bgfalconmedia.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Cooleen Center here. I am Austin Roos, and I am joined by
Kevin Hutchinson.
And next, we are going to go over some of the key players of the game. Kevin, who are you going to be watching tonight?
Yeah, so I think if we're looking at the Falcons first off, I think you definitely want to be looking at a guy like Noah Morneau. I mean, he was quiet last night. He did not score, but he does lead the team in goals with 7. I think trying to get him involved early is going to be important for the Falcons. Also, Quinn Emerson. He's kind of their Swiss Army knife, kind of does a little bit of everything, leads the team in total points and assists. So I think getting those two guys activated and getting them into the game fast is going to be a big key for the Falcons. If we're looking at the Northern Michigan side, I think I already mentioned this, but Caden Galt, he scored his 6th goal of the season yesterday. You're going to want to get him ready to go. Also, Jacob Altrichter. He leads the team in total points and assists. So I think both teams are going to want to get their offenses ready and just try to be aggressive early on in the game.
Absolutely. And going on from there, we're going to look at some of these games going on tonight in the CCHA and kind of how they affect the standings to look at tonight, because there are a couple close ones, especially if you're a Bowling Green Falcons fan. Of course, tonight we have the Falcons versus Northern Michigan, the game you're going to be hearing very soon. We also have the Ferris State Bulldogs facing off against the Minnesota State Mavericks. Ferris State, second to last so far, but of course, Minnesota State in that first place spot. The Falcons will be looking to see if Ferris State can maybe come up with a huge upset tonight. Lake Superior State Lakers will face off against the St. Thomas Tommies, where St. Thomas and Lake Superior State are neck and neck so far in the standings. St. Thomas right now in 6th place and Lake Superior State in 7th place. And then Bemidji State will face off against Augustana. Bemidji State currently holds that 2nd place spot, and Augustana right behind the Falcons, just by 1 point so far and 1 less game played. So that's going to be a matchup that we're going to want to keep our eyes on if you are a Falcon fan. But we will send it to break real quick, and then when we return, we will have our Falcon 4 keys to the game and predictions for the matchup before we send you out to the Slater Ice Arena. Do not go anywhere.
The BGSU men's basketball team is set to battle the Akron Zips on Friday, January 9th at the Stroh Center. Falcon Media Sports Network's Tyler Kavalitz and Ardia Brego will have the call from the Stroh with pregame at 7:45 and tip-off at 8 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
WBGU-FM is Northwest Ohio's community radio station. Tune in daily for local programming that includes The Morning Show, oldies, indie rock, children's music, folk jazz, world music, and so much more. WBGU is the return to radio freedom. Give us a listen on 88.1 FM or online at bgfalconmedia.com. 88.1 FM WBGU, Northwest Ohio's community radio station.
This is Phil Beskid, BGSU Radio Faculty Advisor. You can catch all the Falcon Media Sports Network broadcasts on our two stations, WBGU 88.1 FM and Falcon Radio, which can both be found on bgfalconmedia.com. Ziggy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Cooling Center for the pregame show to the Bowling Green men's hockey team versus Northern Michigan Wildcats game tonight. And we have our Falcon 4 keys to the game for you. Kevin, what do we have?
Yeah, so my keys to the game, I have two for each team. My first key for BG is just to be aggressive early. You know, yesterday, as we said, classic case of too little too late. They kind of showed up in the third period and didn't really show up in the first two periods. I think tonight BG needs to try to get something on the scoreboard in the first period, try to establish that aggression early. And I think in light of that, the second takeaway I would have for BG is shot volume. You know, Dennis Williams really prioritizes shot volume. And yesterday, BG did have 36 shots compared to Northern Michigan's 20, and they still ended up losing. But it's still important to be shooting frequently, you know, threatening the opposing goaltender and sort of forcing them onto their heels. I think for Northern Michigan, they're just going to want to keep momentum through all three periods. They kind of allowed BG to mount a comeback attempt in the third period. You know, they allowed 2 unanswered goals at the end of the game. That's something they're going to want to try and prevent. And also just controlling face-offs. You know, in yesterday's game, BG ended up winning 40 of the face-offs. Northern Michigan only won 31 of them. They still ended up winning, but if they're going to get another win out of this series, I think they're going to have to try to control face-offs and control possession of the puck.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a thing for the Falcons this year. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, is getting out to an early start, making sure that they're kind of being the ones that are telling the story of the game rather than playing from behind like they did last night, allowing a 3-0 lead early. Once you get to a 3-0 lead, it's kind of really hard to come back from that.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with hockey, you know, the scoring is so hard to come by. Like in basketball, for example, you can be down by 10 and get back in the game very quickly. But in hockey, obviously, these goaltenders are so experienced. They're so talented. They've been doing this for basically their whole lives. So it's very hard to come back when you're down, as you said, by 2, 3, 4 goals. And that's something that would sort of be a nightmare scenario for BG if it happens again tonight.
Absolutely. And I'd say something for the Falcons really key to look for is really try to get more shots inside. You look at the shot chart from last night, they're taking a lot of really deep in their own zone kind of shots. While that can set up sort of rebound shots, of course, that we see going for the Falcons quite often, I think if you get inside the zone and you get up close to the goaltender tonight, I think things can happen, and I think it has to be done quickly and effectively if they're going to retake this game tonight and get some momentum back on the season.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. And, you know, tonight's game is very important in terms of recapturing that momentum, because if you lose tonight, you have a couple of weeks to think about that loss, because after tonight, the Falcons do not play another CCHA conference game until January 9th. So you would actually have a month to sort of keep replaying this game in your mind. That's just not something you want psychologically for your team. So I think winning tonight is very important. They can go through the rest of December, play their exhibition match, play their Ohio State series, and then be ready for Ferris State on January 9th. But I think if you lose again tonight, that's going to leave a sour taste in your mouth for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Absolutely. And for some things going on around the MAC today, it's kind of a slow time of the year in terms of sports. We only have a few games going on. Of course, the hockey game tonight. We had men's basketball today who dropped to Utah Valley in a score of 82-71. So that's what we have for Around the MAC. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will have the final predictions for this game and some final thoughts for both teams and what we expect from this game. Don't go anywhere.
Soon after humans began to walk upright, they invented folk music, and folk music was the only music, and it was good. Then came civilization, and rival musical genres arose: Gregorian chant, classical music, jazz, rock and roll, and there was cacophony, but folk music survived, and when the economy and technology collapse and civilization devolves into barbarism, these upstart genres will fall away, and folk music will rise again to its natural dominance. You can prepare yourself now for that inevitable future by tuning in to the Folk Music Show Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. on WBGU 88.1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into the Cooling Center. I am Austin Roos, and I am joined here by
Kevin Hutchinson.
And we are here to give you our final thoughts and predictions for this game. Kevin, what are your predictions for tonight?
Well, my prediction, first and foremost, is a BG win, and that's not biased talking. I mean, even just as an objective third party looking at this game, I do think Bowling Green is by far the better team, and I would just be shocked if they allowed back-to-back upsets on their home ice. I think they're going to be motivated. I think they're a little bit humiliated after last night, and that's going to fuel them. That's going to channel them going into this game. I think they come out hot. I think they score early, and I think BG does what it takes to pull away with a win tonight.
I agree with you completely. I think it's going to be not only a win for Falcons, but I think it'll be a pretty statement-making win for the Falcons. I think they're going to come out tonight, like you mentioned, with some fire under their skates for what they want to do. I don't imagine that they're going to be playing like they did last night. I think that they will come out and they will hit harder than they did last night. I think they'll come out and they'll get more shots on net, better looking shots, not just in quantity, but also in quality. And I think the Falcons will take a lead early, and I think they will hold that lead predominantly throughout the game. I could see a score of 4-1, 5-1, something like that. But I guess we will just have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of score prediction, I think BG will probably win by a 2-score margin, maybe 2-0, 3-1, 4-2. I just don't see this one being as close as last night's game because I think, as we established, BG has shown themselves to be the better team. They're still in third place in the conference, and so I think they're going to end up taking care of business, especially because, as I said, the last thing you want to do is drop this game and then have another month before your next conference game. I think they have that on their minds. And so I think they're going to be really motivated going into this one.
Absolutely. I think the Falcons will look to apply the pressure, of course, like you said. I think some of those top goal scorers, Murnau, I think we could see some even the younger players get involved again last night, Connor Levis. And I think we could see quick scoring, high scoring from the Falcons. Just a much better offensive performance in terms of quality than what we saw last night.
Yeah, and I think that's what Falcon fans are going to be looking for. I'd say hockey probably has one of the best fan environments of any BG sports. The Slater Ice Arena is pretty crowded on a weekend-to-weekend basis. In a way that not all sporting events necessarily are. I think the team's going to feed off of that crowd energy. And, it's just super important because you look at the CCHA standings and, BG is third, but you have Augustana right on their heels, just 1 point behind. And you also have Minnesota State 8 points ahead of BG in the first place spot. So you're 8 points out of first place. You have the fourth place team breathing down your neck. I mean, this is a very important game for BG just to kind of set the tone and gain some ground in the conference leading into the rest of this month.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to take your high goal scorers, and I think people who have been consistently on fire as of late. One player for the Falcons has been Ben Duran. Last night he continued a point streak. It was 6 games. I think that's somebody you're going to see in some capacity on the scoreboard tonight, and I think he's going to extend that score streak to 7 on the season.
Yeah, I think he's definitely somebody to look for. I mean, I think also, as I said, Noah Morneau, I mean, you're going to want to get him involved relatively early. And Breck McKinley, I feel like Breck McKinley doesn't get talked about much, but he has 11 assists, no goals, but he is frequently assisting his teammates, very much a sort of glue guy, the kind of guy you want on your team to kind of help everybody play together. I'm looking for him to get involved tonight as well. And past couple of series, Jack Blake has actually had a couple of good assists. Maybe he gets a piece of the pie tonight as well.
Absolutely. So in terms of final thoughts tonight, we will, here after a break, send it out to Ben Korak at the Slater Ice Arena for the first period of action. Then we'll be back here for the first intermission. And we will be back with more updates from around the CCHA in terms of those close standings that you were talking about. So right after the break, don't go anywhere. There will be Falcon hockey action right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
The Falcon gymnastics team competes at the Orange and Brown Intra-Squad Meet at the Anderson Arena in Bowling Green on December 6th at 3 p.m. Head to bgfalconmedia.com for photos and video of the meet from Falcon Media Sports Network's Coyle Withrow.
Did you hear that, kids? You too can join the International Humanist Conspiracy. All you have to do is listen to the World Music Show.
দেশের নয় শুনুন পৃথিবীর গান
That's right, music from everywhere but here, Sundays starting at 6 p.m. on WBGU 88.1.
Hi, my name's Emma Stransky. I'm a winger for BGSU women's soccer. My 4 favorite animals are ferret, because I have 2 and they're the cutest things ever. Falcon, because we're BG. Fox, because Chris Fox, our coach. And then a flamingo, because I think that they're pretty.
Catch all the action of BGSU athletics right here on Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU FM. Student play-by-play announcers broadcast all the sports you want to hear, including football, basketball, hockey, volleyball, and more. Don't miss a single game with coverage of BGSU athletics from the Falcon Media Sports Network on WBGU FM and streaming worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com.
I'm Brock Horn. I'm a middle linebacker, 6-year senior, and these are my Falcon 4 people I go to after a game. So first, definitely would be my girlfriend, would be the first person I'd text. The second would be my parents, if they weren't at the game, which they probably were. Third would be my group chat with like my buddies from BG that have come and gone, so like Darren Anders, Brent Spees, James Miller, all guys who played here. And then my fourth would be my group chat with all the boys back home. So go Falcons.
Catch all the action of BGSU athletics right here on Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU FM. Student play-by-play announcers broadcast all the sports you want to hear, including football, basketball, hockey, volleyball, and more. Don't miss a single game with coverage of BGSU athletics from the Falcon Media Sports Network on WBGU FM and streaming worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com.
The Falcon men's basketball team hosts the Miami Redhawks on Tuesday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Tune into Falcon Radio for live play-by-play coverage from Foster Rosti and Dawson Pelter from the Stroh Center with pregame coverage starting at 6:45 live on Falcon Radio.
Hi, I'm Taylor Green, and I'm a defender on the BGSU BGSU women's soccer team. And the 4 places that I want to visit are Greece, Italy, France, and Thailand, mainly just to see the different places and try different foods.
Northwest Ohio's community radio station is currently looking for music submissions from local and regional artists. As a local non-commercial radio station, WBGU celebrates local musicians and offers opportunities for independent artists to get their music out to the local community on 88.1 FM and worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com. Submit your materials now by snail mail or Facebook. Get your music on local radio with WBGU, Northwest Ohio's community radio station.
BGSU graduate Jason Jackson from the Miami Heat here. Make sure to tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM, home of the Falcon Media Sports Network.
Check out bgfalconmedia.com for previews, recaps, photos, videos, and more of the Falcons.
Welcome back into the Slater Family Ice Arena. Bowling Green set to face off against Northern Michigan for the second straight day. The Northern Michigan Wildcats took their first win of the season yesterday. The Falcons fell victim to the Wildcats, playing a pretty good game. Myself, Ben Korak, along with Nathan Burkett. But Nathan, really some things that you want to change if you're the Falcons. Maybe one of the worst games that they've played all season.
Absolutely. During the pregame show, we heard Kevin Hutchinson mention that this team might be embarrassed. They should be embarrassed, and I hope they're embarrassed. Not only did they lose to a team that had yet to win, they, at least for the first 2 periods and most of the third, it felt like didn't even try.
Ryman with the puck, back up to the point. Breck McKinley, who skates back. McKinley and Norris, who are playing on a defensive pairing, not to start the game, but will throughout the majority of this game, are the only line left intact from last night. All forwards have been switched around. 2 pairings of defensemen have been switched around, and the goaltender is different for the Falcons. It's Jacob Steinman in net for Bowling Green. Only 2 changes for Northern Michigan. Nicholas Ardenaz, who was hurt in the third period yesterday, out of the lineup today. And the only other inclusion is Kyle Bettens, who's in the lineup for Graydon Slippick. Big hit in front of the bench from Bowling Green, establishing that physicality early. That was nothing yesterday. The Falcons playing, as head coach Dennis Williams put it in his press conference yesterday, Nathan, pretty blah, and a pretty nondescript game that the Falcons played. Slap shot in just wide right of the rack. A good shot there by Braden Crampton. Back behind the net, south of the goal line. Back there is Brody Waters, who had a goal yesterday, flung into the chest of William Grama, the goaltender for Northern Michigan, by Braden Crampton. We get our first whistle and a stoppage, and a pretty solid effort through the first minute and 6 seconds, at least better than we saw almost at any point yesterday.
Absolutely, mentioned it earlier, but last night there was nothing from the Falcons. There was no energy, no urgency, no goal scoring, no physicality, nothing, at least through the first 2 periods. So tonight we expect something.
Puck won back off the draw by Northern Michigan. It's in the right wing corner. Ciccarello gets it away to another jersey in green and gold. A hit put on Simonovic there, who's crashing down to the goal line to try and retrieve the puck, but he's pressed away from it. Now it's back up to Simonovic at the blue line, across to McKinley, who misses the puck. He's got some open ice now, gives it up to Duran. Beaten up in the corner by Evan Johnson. Took a pretty poor penalty in the third period. A string of 3 penalties to Northern Michigan that gave Bowling Green about 5.5 minutes of power play and about 30 seconds of 5-on-3 that Bowling Green failed to score on and lost 3-2 to Northern Michigan for the Wildcats' first win of the season. A toss over toward Grama. He lets it go into the corner. Down the right wing, skating with the puck is Mikey Burchill, who wraps it around to his man up at center ice. Northern Michigan flings it into the O-zone for the first time in the game.
Breck McKinley holds it behind his net, passing it to his D partner, Simonovic.
Simonovic out to center ice. Puck played. It's chipped up in the air, knocked back down. Sil Collins in there, who had a goal and an assist yesterday, the best game of the season for the junior centerman. One of only 3 centermen in the line today for Northern Michigan. Knocked down to the ice was Sil Collins. Cleach and Jake Sloan getting into it a little bit next to the boards, but most likely nothing going to come from it. A whistle as the puck out of play. So Collins with that goal and assist yesterday. The goal came as the game winner, and the assist came on the opening goal by Caden Galt. Galt's 6th goal of the season. Puck now is going to be dropped to the left of Jacob Steinman in the Bowling Green end. A little bit of a different look today. The orange buckets for the Falcons wearing their normal white jerseys that Willie likes to wear at home, signifying the change to the lineup that they're going to have in some different names and some different positions today, especially on the forward side of things. Pass up the ice by Northern Michigan, back into the Falcon end. Played by Steinman around to Adams Linka, first line forward today for Bowling Green. And the lineup for Brett Foe, who's now out of the lineup. One of the big changes that head coach Dennis Williams made from yesterday to today. Altrichter looks to pull it inside the opponent blue line. It's flung down behind the net. Jack Blake will chase. Chose the wrong side of the net. Hutchinson will get there first, playing on the first line today. Medrick Bolduc fires it across the slot, but it's picked off by Jack Blake. Jack Blake with an assist yesterday, his 2nd of the season. This puck into the offensive zone, but offsides are the Falcons, and it'll come back up to center ice. 16:45 left to play in the first, and no score.
Ben, you started to mention it, but BG with their brown buckets, white jerseys, brown pants, white socks, going up against, in my opinion, one of the best jersey combinations in the CCHA. Northern Michigan with green helmets, green jerseys, green pants, green socks with yellow and white accents. Wildcats written diagonally across the front.
Green and gold, certainly one of the most underrated color combinations in my opinion, and Northern Michigan wears it quite cleanly. Puck up to the point for Bowling Green, fired over toward Grandma and is pulled away by Ciccarello. He skates it up the left wing of his own side. McKinley able to keep it inside the blue line on a nice play. He's played so well lately, has Breck McKinley. Back up to the point to Norris, holding in that left blue line. Here's Max Martin down behind the goal line. His first game played since the first game of Princeton here in the Slater Family Ice Arena. A 2-game sweep for the Falcons against the ECAC opponent. McKinley in toward Grandma on the backhand. He directs it into the corner. McKinley down on the left wing now, fires it into the left wing wheel. Morneau with a slap shot. He's knocked down to the ice and the shot won't get to the rack. Back up to the blue line again. Norris to his defensive partner McKinley. Banked it off the half wall, off the back of the cage. Max Martin battling for the puck. He's got it. Falcons living in the O-zone. Low angle shot into Grandma, and he'll hold on. The junior goaltender with 34 saves and 2 goals allowed yesterday for his first win of the season and the first win of any goaltender for Northern Michigan.
Northern Michigan's goaltenders have, at least statistically, and based on the eye test, been playing well this year. Because up until last night, they didn't have the goal from their forwards to help support them.
2 goaltenders playing most of the time this season for Northern Michigan. Oliver Aoyoung Ashton injured after a series against Michigan Tech on November 7th and 8th. Has not played since, and it's been Grandma's net, the Swedish native, since then. Up the ice down the left wing. First one in the zone is Northern Michigan. Korodiak takes him very physically out of the play. Minville slaps the puck up to center ice. First one back will be Zane Dempsey in his own zone to gather. Pass up into neutral zone again. Minville puts a check on, the puck away, back to the Bowling Green end, and an icing called against Northern Michigan. And it'll come back down into the Wildcat end of the ice.
Seeing Jake Sloan and Brandon Wynot, I always like to see these two guys on a line together. Played with each other last year in junior hockey for the Tri-City Americans, came here together. Both play with a lot of grit. Good to see, especially after last night's performance.
Tyler Hodson, a 12-point score for the Falcons, is extra skating today. One of the changes head coach Dennis Williams has made. Puck won by the Falcons, down to the right wing corner. There's Brandon Wynot. He gets it away to his centerman, Jake Sloan. In the corner, centerman skated away from the puck without the puck. It's 50-50 on the boards now. It's held inside the blue line and then skated immediately back out by Gert Silkallens. Silkallens into the offensive zone. He's bullied by 4 Falcons away from the puck. Hodson wears a bump. Pass over into the slot. High slot. Wynot with a nice shot. Here's Hodson. Hodson looks for a shot. Now takes a step back out to the blue line. Jack Blake fires it in. Down deep. Intercepted by Warren Clark, the draft capital of the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the offensive zone for Northern Michigan, quickly turned back to the Falcons. A better period already played by Bowling Green. 5 minutes and 30 seconds expired here in the first. Bounding puck over towards Steinman, and Steinman will make his first save of the game on that play. 5.5 minutes expired in the first, no score.
Steinman last appeared for Bowling Green last weekend against Princeton on Saturday night. Had a strong game in the 4-3 victory for Bowling Green.
3 goals allowed, 19 saves for Jacob Steinman. The game before that, 4 goals allowed, 31 saves against St. Thomas. He did get pulled in that game, but was left on an island sometimes, and St. Thomas was able to solve him easily, although the game before that, he had a fantastic outing in the Bowling Green overtime victory, 3-2 on the Ben Duran game winner.
Made multiple highlight reel saves.
Especially toward the end of the game, although St. Thomas was able to score both of their goals in the third period. Did everything he possibly could. And, of course, had a fantastic series up in Minnesota State, going toe-to-toe with the best goaltender in the CCHA for a lot of people's money, and Alex Tracy. On the right wing, Adams Linka through center ice. 2 defensemen back for Northern Michigan. Grandma lost sight of the puck. Luckily, it was away from danger. Up to the left wing boards. Landon McDonald peels it off. McDonald also had a goal yesterday, the second goal of the game. Here's McKinley. Finds a shooting hole. Fires it into Grandma, and it's kicked into the corner, deflected away on the save. Now behind the goal line, back up to the blue line. McKinley skates down with it toward the goal line. Down south of Grandma, wrapping it around the other side. Shot in, down in front of Grandma, and it's carried to the back wall. Hammering away at the puck is Grant and Morneau. Now on the left wing corner, back up to the blue line. Norris to Crampton. Crampton to the middle. Max Martin with a shot, and it's blocked by Anthony Cleach. The number 1 blocking team in the CCHA is Northern Michigan. 14-5. They led the Falcons in blocks yesterday. Puck back out to center ice. Bowling Green will get a couple of man change. So will the Wildcats. Right wing boards. Warren Clark. Pass to his own slot. No white jerseys there. 1 green and gold. And it's Burchill that leads the charge forward. Ben Duran, a nice play to get the puck away. Playing with Quinn Emerson today and Jeremy Minville. Minville with 3 straight games with an assist. Both games against Princeton, and now 1 this weekend against Northern Michigan. Puck bounds over to Steinman. He'll make another grab, and a face-off coming to the Bowling Green end. But not too much danger coming from Northern Michigan so far, Nathan, for a team that was living and dying on their breakaways yesterday.
Absolutely call it. BG slacking multiple times yesterday. Able to get one-on-one opportunities and take advantage of them last night.
Our Pick the Stick for the Falcon Media Sports Network. We each choose a player before the game starts. You get 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. The goalie gets you 3 points, and you lose them as the game progresses. We total them up across the entire season. Not too many points coming from our selections yesterday. But today, Lucas Kleinmeyer chose Adams Linka, first line right winger. Tyler Kavlitz chose Quinn Emerson, also a right winger. Nathan chose Max Martin, and I chose Jaden Grant. Make sure to stay tuned for any of those players and how they score today. Sloan tips it over toward Grandma. A bit late is Simonovic to get off the bench. Altrichter will be defended now by Dalton Norris. A good play to force Altrichter back up to the blue line. Shot in, deflected down in front. Steinman lost sight of the puck. It falls down right in front of him, but the whistle was already blown. Don't know if he knew that he had it, but luckily for the Falcons he did. 12 minutes left to play in the first.
A battle of the ones when it comes to goaltending tonight. Jacob Steinman wearing number 1 as well as William Grandma. Jacob Steinman, the first goalie to wear number 1 for Bowling Green since the great Andrew Hammond. Back in the late 2000s, early 2010s for the Falcons.
Here's Linka, right wing. Dom Ryman makes a good move, gets position on the puck. He's pressed into the boards by Evan Johnson. Johnson's taken out of the play, although he's taken Dom Ryman out of the play. Ryman's still battling for the puck in the boards. He works the puck free. Here's Linka. Back up to the blue line. Norris just misses it. Knocked down to the ice. Takes his man with him. Gets the puck away to the white jersey. Looked like Kyle Betton's number 24 wanted a call. Not too happy about it. There's a icing, I believe, against the Falcons. It'll come back down to the other end. An awkward play there that Norris blew a tire, and so did Bettens. And Bettens thought he might have had a call on possibly a tripping. Maybe a holding call as well. 7 shots on goal for the Falcons, 1 shot on goal for Northern Michigan. The ratio, I'm sure, that head coach Dennis Williams likes to see. The Falcons were starkly outshot through the first 2 periods, although shots on goal got better as the game went along, and then ended up leading by quite a margin at the end of the game. 20 for the Wildcats, 36 for the Falcons, many of those coming in the third period for Bowling Green.
24 shots on goal for BG in the third period.
Do the math, only 12 in the first 2 periods. And the Falcons, who are ever seeking to try and put together a full 60 minutes, did not do so last night, needless to say. Zane Dempsey, the shot. Steinman lets it go to the half wall. Burchill back out to the blue line. Northern Michigan putting together their first semblance of offense. And now the Falcons with the puck. Zlinka out to center ice. Jaden Grant reaches over the head of Argentina to try and grab the puck, but he can't do it. Argentina's bump. Now the right wing. Shot into the chest of Steinman. Perfectly placed, taking steps out of the crease. And he's able to stifle Mikey Burchill's shot for his second save of the game.
Ben, you mentioned trying to put together a full game. It felt for much of this season like the Falcons would be able to put 40 minutes together, but could never quite play a full game, would always struggle at least one of the periods. But last night, they actually did the opposite. They only played well, in my opinion, in about 15 minutes of the third period. And for the first 2 periods, were nowhere to be seen.
3-2, the Northern Michigan victory yesterday in regulation. Their first 3 points of the CCHA season come at the hand of the Falcons. Here's Jakob Altrichter behind the goal line. Plays it out to the slot. Nobody standing there in position to make a shot on goal. Here's Max Martin down the left wing, defended by Warren Clark, who gains position. Martin takes it into the corner, works the puck free. Some more tenacity by the Falcons today. 2 defensemen guarding the blue line. Woo, puck chipped over toward Grandma. Kind of caught him off guard when he grabbed the puck. A lot of stoppages here early, and most of them coming from Grandma, I'd say, Nathan, and trying to shut down what's been a pretty ferocious attack by the Falcons, although they haven't scored yet.
You don't want to let BG get into momentum, so he's going to keep freezing the puck every chance he can, try and break up the momentum for the Falcons.
Duran in the dot, sits on the puck for a second. It's knocked down south of the goal line. Into the corner again, played there by Tynan Ewert. Ewert, one of the better offensive players for Northern Michigan, or offensive defenseman, I should say, led Northern Michigan in blocks, time on ice, and defensive assists and points last season. Did the captain Tynan Ewert just in his junior season, wearing the C as well. Low angle shot in toward Grandma, an easy save for him. Jack Blake crashed down to the goal line. He got the puck and get it back to a white jersey. Jack Blake has played very well this weekend. Here's a low angle slap shot that misses the cage wide. That was coming from Jack Blake, who's guarding the blue line now. Puck skated away by Silkons. Turned back over to Jeremy Minville. Minville works downhill off the boards, defended by Zane Dempsey. Back behind the goal line again, and now Minville will head off the ice. Falcons in the offensive zone. Brandon Wynot on for Bowling Green. To the blue line. D-to-D pass to Crampton, but it won't land. Northern Michigan looking like they can't put together anything. Wynot with a shot, kind of fanned on it, gets possession. Low angle again off the side of the net. On the right wing comes Northern Michigan, forced it into the offensive zone. Burchill looks to cross his pass. Simonovic slaps the puck away from him. Let's get it outside of the blue line. Bowling Green with a bit of a breakaway here. Tyler Hodson down the right wing. Fed it across to Hodson, to Wynot, but a bit hot and high for Wynot to settle down and get a shot off on. Up to the blue line. Couldn't be held in by Norris. Gets it away from the encroaching Wildcat. And back to McKinley. Of course, we do have to mention defensively, as there's 8:15 left to play in the first period, that Gustav Stjernberg and Jackson Niedermeyer both out for injury this weekend. Ciccarello with the puck in the left wing boards, but that's a lot of defense and a lot of offense you're lacking if you're the Falcons on the defensive side. And it plagued BG a little bit yesterday, especially in the physical game, which both of them are a member of.
Stjernberg has not appeared.
Up to Crampton. Big slap shot off of the glass.
Stjernberg has not appeared for a game for BG since the Ferris State series. And Niedermeyer was hurt last weekend against Princeton.
2 goals, no assists this season for Stjernberg, but the best defensive player for my money, Nathan, and definitely the most physical, along with Kurodiak, who seems like he's trying to take that crown from Goose every day. Steinman plays the puck up nicely to Martin.
Also arguably the most entertaining player on this Falcon roster.
Down the right wing comes Brody Waters behind the goal line to Morneau. Morneau, the lead man up in the Northern Michigan end of the ice. Bowling Green's camped out in the O-zone today. Jack Blake, the shot in off the half wall, swept down behind the goal line again. Altrichter on the left wing, can't hold it. Jack Blake, a pass into the slot, and no Falcons there, just a bit out of position. Hutchinson out to center ice. Right to Blake's tape, up to Martin. Martin tips, he's toppled down to the ice on a good hit by Anthony Cleach. Although 4 penalty minutes yesterday for Cleach, one of them offsetting, one of them resulted in a power play to the Falcons. But no power play goals from Bowling Green yesterday, who had some pretty good movement, especially in the 5.5 minutes straight of power play they had in the third period, but no goals, no execution. Pass over into the slot, and not settling it down was Cecil Collins. A good save there by Steinman. That's his third of the game. Minville in the boards. Puck free to Northern Michigan, out to the blue line, just barely held in. Dumped back down deep. McDonald goes in for the puck. Jack Blake playing with Simonovic. Out to the left wing. The Falcons turn it back into some offense. Quinn Emerson slaps it up. Argentina picks it off. And Northern Michigan back into their own end. Fed up to Ciccarello. Tips it into the offensive zone. 6 minutes left to play in the first period. No score between Bowling Green and Northern Michigan. First 2 goals of the game by Northern around the 13th minute in the first period and around the 13th minute in the second period. Both of the goals scored. We're getting to that point now. Ciccarello leaves it back for Burchill. Burchill looks back to the blue line, now down deep. Fighting for the puck is Ciccarello. He gets some open ice. Slap shot from the point. Evan Johnson with that shot in. It's down to the goal line. Dalton Norris pins it up, takes his man out of the play. Matthew Argentina. Back up into neutral ice, Altrichter. First line center. Arguably the best player on the team is Jakob Altrichter. Led Northern Michigan in assists and points, and ranked 6th in the nation as a freshman last season in face-off wins. And now we're up to our media timeout, and a bit of a late one. 5:22 left to play here in the first period. This timeout brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green, featuring coffee and craft beer and serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. See the latest menu at juniperbrew.com. 5:22 left to play in the first. No score between the Falcons and Wildcats. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
On September 13th, BGSU men's soccer's Bennett Painter scored the game-winning goal against Northern Illinois, leading to the team getting nationally ranked. Falcon Media Sports Network's Lucas Kleinmeyer had the call on the WBGU PBS YouTube channel.
Gonna win that one initially. Head up again. Wins the second one, however. Back to lane, back to Painter. That one's blocked, gets it back. Painter! Bennett Painter paints another masterclass at Cochran Stadium.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
Ben Korak and the Falcon Media Sports Network crew covering the Falcon hockey team throughout the season.
First power play of the game going to go to Northern Michigan. High sticking was the call against Jaden Grant. And the Falcons will go on a penalty kill. A pretty solid penalty kill this season. Have the Falcons 84% on the season. And a subpar power play for Northern Michigan. Didn't get a power play goal yesterday, and they were at 15% coming into the weekend. So not the marks you'd want to see. Northern Michigan with their best offensive 8. Tynan Ewert, the only defenseman, along with Caden Galt, Burchill, Altrichter, and Matthew Argentina.
Taking a break in the action for some ice maintenance.
Yeah, it looks like they're fixing a spot in the corner. While we have this break, interesting to mention when I was doing prep for this game, didn't realize that we have a player on the ice that played for pretty high-profile college hockey team, and that was Boston College, where Matthew Argentina played, who's going to be on this power play. Played from 2021 to 2023 at Boston College, 65 games played and 10 points. And then he played in the British Columbia Hockey League for the remaining year, and then has come back to Northern Michigan and is now in his senior season. The Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native. Played for Chilliwack 2 years ago before he came back to Northern Michigan for some more college hockey. So rare that you see players in the CCHA having played for such high-profile teams, and rare that you see them having gone back to junior hockey and then back to NCAA.
Mentioning high-profile teams, Northern Michigan has a couple. Grandma played at Wisconsin last year. Wisconsin having a great year this season. Silk Haynes as well played for UMass Lowell last year, or actually for his first 2 seasons in NCAA hockey. Seems that the ice repair has been completed. Or they're wrapping it up now, hopefully. As the ice crew,
yeah, they're going to walk off the other side of the
heads
ice
to the
now.
door.
Would have taken a while. So we're back in, ready to drop puck and have action again. Jakob Altrichter in the dot to go up against Noah Morneau. Karodiak, McKinley, and looks to be Jaden. Nope, not Jaden Grant. Most likely Quinn Emerson. Yep, it is Quinn Emerson on this penalty kill. McKinley, after the one face-off by the Falcons, fires it down into Grandma, and he kicks it to Tynan Ewert. Northern Michigan trying to put together their first power play goal of the weekend. Every goal scored yesterday, even strength, aside from the last, which was an extra attacking goal from Brody Waters. Steinman flips it off the high glass, looks to get it outside the blue line. Played back to Northern Michigan. Held in. Good passing there. Tyler Ewert, the shot in. Rebound chance. It's dropped down in front. And a good save by Steinman. Another nice save. Argentina, a quick shot, and he missed the goal left. Back up to the blue line. Burchell keeps it in. Ewert, slap shot. Argentina into the chest of Steinman. A good sequence there by the freshman goaltender who gets taps from Quinn Emerson. And about 40 seconds expired on the power play for the Wildcats.
Couple of big saves there from Steinman, as that flurry will tie the shots. Actually, Northern Michigan will now take the lead in the shots on goal battle, 8-7.
Back up to Argentina and up to the blue line. Tynan Ewert on the left side of that blue line. Down quick to the goal line. Argentina works in tight, and Steinman was on it the whole time.
1 minute, 11 seconds remain on the power play for Northern Michigan.
Maybe the best looks that they've had on the power play all weekend as well. And all 3 of them pretty much from Matthew Argentina. Altrichter in the dot up against Connor Levis. Crampton slaps it high off the glass and down to the other end. So BG will not need a change as they'll go on the kill. Number 20, Connor Levis, with number 10, Adam Zlinka, and Crampton and Simonovic back defensively. Kind of a miscue there. Matthew Argentina back with the puck. He gets it away to Altrichter. Altrichter outside of his own blue line, now into the offensive blue line. Altrichter, the sophomore, plays it away to the right wing. With the puck there on the right side is Burchill. Gets it back out to Caden Galt. Galt with the puck. It's poked away, but nicely to Altrichter. A good break there for Northern Michigan. Tried to go down to the goal line. Simonovic slaps it long out of play. A nice shift there by that unit, and they'll head off in favor of another. It's Sloan and Why Not along with McKinley and Karodiak. Offensive zone turnover. Why Not a shot in, and Grandma slides out of the crease to make the save. A shorthanded chance there for the Falcons, who have actually had a decent amount of shorthanded offense this weekend, Nathan.
Grandma there overplayed the puck. Almost cost him.
Sloan in the dot. Going to get a couple of changes by the Wildcats. Looks like Zane Dempsey is going to head off, and a new defenseman is going to head on. 5-on-4 for Northern Michigan for the next 15 seconds. Down behind the goal line, the defenseman blows a tire. Landon McDonald goes for the body, not the puck. Why Not on a good forecheck? All 4 Falcons inside of the Northern Michigan blue line there for a second. Now spread back out into their press break. Now out to Warren Clark, and back up to full strength. Jaden Grant on the ice trying to pick off that pass, and the Falcons a successful penalty kill to open up the penalties today. 3 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the first period. No score, but Northern Michigan jumps on top and shots on goal, 9-8. Tipped over, long, Dempsey recovers. Tyler Hodson on that forecheck. Now coming in, ranging in, slap shot, and it's saved. A backhanded slap shot, looked like there, by Bettens. Bettens out to the blue line. Zane Dempsey makes a good move, makes Why Not miss. Feeds it in towards Steinman, sweeps it around the goal, the other side. Ciccarello out to the blue line, shot into the corner. Driving down is Dempsey. Bettens pinned up against the boards by Dalton Norris, getting physical with Kyle Bettens, who's a 6'3", 225-pound forward, a big guy, skating on the right wing for Northern Michigan. Here's Dom Ryman, tries to cross it into the slot, does so just a bit late to connect with Tyler Hodson. Hodson back behind the goal line, played there by Ben Duran. Duran out to the blue line, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to go in the opening frame. The shot toward Grandma, he holds on.
Score remains tied at 0 apiece, but if you're the Falcons, you're just looking to win this game. You don't need to blow out Northern Michigan. Actually, Northern Michigan's been, of all the teams that they faced this year, have not really been blown out really in any of their games. At least not by a noticeable extreme margin. Solid goaltending in most of them, just a lack of goal scoring on their own part.
Face-off dot, lost by Ben Duran. Off the half wall and down in the Bowling Green end. Simonovic will be the first back. Hutchinson ranging in to him. Hutchinson takes Simonovic out of the play. Caden Galt, puck away to McKinley. And McKinley, Martin, and Waters will try and turn this into some offense. Max Martin down the left wing, the sophomore. 6 goals and 3 assists last season for the Falcons. On not a lot of freshmen for the Falcons last year. Here's a cleanup chance, and it's directed away. But Max Martin, certainly the best freshman last season for the Falcons. Shot in, deflected around Grandma. Caden Galt back, flips it high in the air. Looked like it might have grazed the ceiling, but no call from the referees who had the best angle of it. Lead pass up to Martin, who tips it and will go for a change. No more, no in. Puts a hit on Warren Clark. The puck away in front of the bench of Northern Michigan. McDonald gets it away. Now Sil Collins down the right wing. Sil Collins, the shot is blocked by Crampton, who's knocked down to a knee on that shot. Morneau blows a tire. It's out to center ice. Falcons might have had possession there had Morneau not lost an edge. Emerson puts a bump on Dempsey in the offensive zone corner for the Falcons. A minute exactly left to play in the first period. First 20 miles skated by the Falcons. The Rick Crow first intermission report coming up. Tipped in and a score! Jeremy Minville, a net front battle, and the Falcons take a 1-0 lead.
For the first time this weekend, BG is in the lead. And for the third time this weekend, they score from the blue paint.
Second goal of the season for Jeremy Minville. His point streak extends to 4 games. And the Falcons on the board first over the Northern Michigan Wildcats.
Shot from the point, tipped in. I believe that was Ivan Korodiak's shot.
Couldn't have really drawn it up any better than that. One shot in, one try at the cleanup, and the Falcons got it.
If I'm correct, and that was Korodiak, that will be Korodiak's first assist and first points of the season. For
his first point since January 18th of 2025 against Ferris State. That was his first career point, and now he's got his second. Simonovic up to Hodson. Hodson directs it out. The Falcons cleared outside the blue line. Here's a breakaway. Dom Ryman down the left wing. He's got Duran in center. Ryman with a shot across the blue paint, and it's coming the other way now. Here's Northern Michigan down the right wing. Offsides is the call against the Wildcats, who had numbers. A big chance there for the Falcons. Why not, or Ryman, I should say, maybe just a bit selfish in taking the shot. He had Duran open through the slot.
.5 remained here in the first period of play. Face-off won by Northern Michigan in neutral ice.
Back down into the Bowling Green end. Steinman with the puck. Norris goes it up to Max Martin. Max Martin to Sloan. Sloan tries to tip it ahead to Why Not, but it's blocked up at center ice by Caden Galt. Flung in by Dempsey. 10 seconds left to play in the first period. Why Not tips it ahead outside the blue line. and we're going to skate into the first intermission with a 1-0 Bowling Green lead here in the Slater Family Ice Arena. Jeremy Minville with a cleanup attempt on Ivan Korodiak's shot in, his first point of the season, first since January 18th in his final conference game played before the turn of the year. Austin Roos, Kevin Hutchinson will unpack it in just a little bit on the Rick Crow First Intermission Report. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
The Bowling Green hockey team takes on the Ohio State Buckeyes in their first game of a weekend series on Friday, January 2nd at the Schonstein Center in Columbus. Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak and Nathan Burkett will have the live call on WBGU 88.1 FM with pregame starting at 6:15 and puck drop at 6:30 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Catch all of the action of BGSU athletics right here on Northwest Ohio's community radio station, WBGU FM. Student play-by-play announcers broadcast all the sports you want to hear, including football, basketball, hockey, volleyball, and more. Don't miss a single game with coverage of BGSU athletics from the Falcon Media Sports Network on WBGU FM and streaming worldwide on bgfalconmedia.com.
The BGSU men's basketball team travels to the Convocation Center in Athens on Saturday, December 20th at 4 p.m. to take on the Ohio Bobcats. Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rostai and Kevin Hutchinson will be on the call on Falcon Radio. After the conclusion of the game, check out bgfalconmedia.com for a recap of the game and additional content.
To get your music played on Northwest Ohio's community radio station, submit your materials via snail mail or through Facebook. Additional opportunities include on-air interviews, live performances, and more. Promote your band and your music on Northwest Ohio's community radio station. Submit your materials now and start engaging with a larger audience. Return to Radio Freedom with local music on 88.1 FM WBGU Bowling Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cooling Center for the Rick Crow Intermission Report. The first intermission report brought to you by Rick Crow, longtime BGSU hockey fan and listener of Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM. I am Austin Roos, and I'm here with Kevin Hutchinson, and we are going to give you a first intermission recap. What happened in the first intermission, Kevin?
Well, I think the Falcons really must have been listening to our pregame show because they embodied a lot of the keys that we talked about, establishing shot volume early. They had 20 shots in the first period alone. For comparison, they only had 36 shots in the entirety of yesterday's game, but now they're on pace, if they keep up this pace, to have 60 shots on the day. Just much more offensive production and much more offensive efficiency. And then you see Jeremy Minville breaking through with that goal to put BG up 1-0 going into the intermission.
All right, and with that, we will take a quick break, and we will be back with our roundtable, some of the things that we saw in the first period of play and some of the things that we think will carry on into the later periods of this game. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Rick Crow Intermission Report. We will be right back.
Falcon Media Sports Network now has a pregame, halftime, and postgame show for every BGSU men's and women's basketball broadcast, starting 25 minutes before each game. Make sure to tune in to hear insights and knowledge from Falcon Media Sports Network analysts. You can listen to every broadcast on WBGU 88.1 FM or Falcon Radio, also streaming on bgfalconmedia.com.
Hi, I'm Sydney Hernandez, and this is my Falcon 4 Essential Carries. For every day, I like to carry my chapstick, just to keep my lips moisturized. I like to have my phone to stay in contact with friends and family. If I'm at school, have to have my laptop for notes and all my assignments. And I also like to keep a little snack with me at all times, just in case I get hungry throughout the day. Go Falcons!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cooling Center for the Rick Crow First Intermission Report. I'm Austin Roos. I'm here with Kevin Hutchinson, and we have our first intermission, first period roundtable. What are some of the things that you saw there in the first period that the Falcons did well?
Well, I mean, I think I previously talked about this, but just being more aggressive, taking more shots, getting out to a lead early. I mean, they obviously taking a 1-0 lead into this first intermission. I think also the penalty kill. Northern Michigan had a power play, and yet BG still prevented them from scoring. I mean, that's big. When you have success on the penalty kill, you can help to keep games close and help to neutralize the other team's advantage. And I think just, Jeremy Minville, he hasn't been super productive this season, but to see him score, still good to see that guys up and down the roster are finding ways to contribute.
Absolutely. And something that I thought was interesting, we talked about it in our pregame show, the Falcons coming out, being the more aggressive team. And obviously they have been so far. They put the first goal in the game pretty late in the period there. But for a minute, it looked like the Falcons came out. They had like a 10-shot lead. Northern Michigan hadn't even put a shot on goal yet. But slowly throughout the period, Northern Michigan was starting to work their way back into the game, and we saw these shot totals kind of start to even up and even out a little bit between the two teams. But then, of course, at the end, Minville with the goal to really give the Falcons the advantage on this game. What can you kind of say on the sort of momentum switches that we're seeing so far in the first period?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there. BG came out sort of roaring at the beginning, which I think we both thought would happen. Still kind of scorned from yesterday's result, but then Northern Michigan finding their rhythm as well. I mean, I think for BG, it's important to not take their foot on the gas, off the gas here. You still have 40 minutes of regulation, and there's plenty of time for things to shift any which way here. I mean, I think if you're BG, you want to find a way to score again in the second period, build a 2-goal advantage. That's when you can start getting a little comfortable. But this is still anybody's game. Northern Michigan is by no means out of it. And I think they still are going to try to mount a comeback moving forward here.
Another thing that I found to be interesting there or in this game is William Graham. He's playing again in net tonight. This would be, I believe, the 6th start in a row for him. What do you think kind of Northern Michigan's goal is, having the same starting goalie in net and the one with momentum from last night?
Yeah, well, I think their mindset is, we beat this team yesterday, and Graham gives us our best chance to win, so we might as well trot him out again. Obviously, 6 consecutive starts. Surely there's a little wear and tear, but I think they're just trying to get another consecutive win here. And then they have a week off before they face St. Thomas. Interestingly, over the next month, BG, as I said, has kind of not an easy schedule, but they don't play any conference opponents. Northern Michigan has 4 more conference opponents in that same time, 4 more conference games. They have a St. Thomas series at home and then a Lake Superior State series on the road. So they're trying to build some sort of momentum before they go into that stretch, I think.
Absolutely. We will go to a short break here for the Rick Crow Intermission Report, and then we will be back for our player of the game to watch, and then we will take you around the CCHA for different scores going on and how they impact the Falcons and other CCHA standings. You're not going to want to go anywhere. We'll be right back with the Rick Crow Intermission Report.
The Bowling Green men's basketball team plays in their first game of 2026 on the road up in Amherst, Massachusetts to take on the UMass Minutemen on Saturday, January 3rd with tip-off set for 2 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network will have a recap of the game on bgfalconmedia.com.
Be a part of Black Swamp Players BG's award-winning community theater group. BSP produces a 5-show season, adds on the winning play from our playwriters competition, hosts improv and special events, and is totally volunteer run. You can be part of this inclusive arts community in many ways, on the stage, in the director chair, as an usher, watching from the audience. Come see our Black Box Theater and find out how you can be involved. More at blackswampplayers.org.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cooling Center for the Rick Crow First Intermission Report. I'm Austin Roos. I'm here with Kevin Hutchinson. And Kevin, who are some of the players you might be watching for Player of the Game to watch?
Well, I think for the Falcons, my leading Player of the Game candidate right now would be goaltender Jacob Steinman. He made 11 saves in the first period alone. He's been sharp so far in this game. I think he's going to really help contain the Wildcats and help BG build even a bigger lead, perhaps, moving forward. I think he's definitely a player to watch. I mean, if we're talking about Northern Michigan, I think looking again at Caden Galt, he's only taken one shot on goal today, but he is their leading scorer. I expect him to try to get involved in these next two periods here.
Absolutely. And with some of the things going on around the CCHA, only one other game starting so far, and that is Lake Superior State versus St. Thomas, knotted up as they are just beginning the first period of play there. Here in a little bit, we will have the Ferris State Bulldogs facing off against the Minnesota State Mavericks, as well as the Bemidji State Beavers facing off against the Augustana Vikings. And some of the standings to watch, of course, we talked about a little bit earlier, we have the Falcons right now in third place, Augustana right behind them in point totals, and they have played one less game to the Falcons, as well as Michigan Tech, only 3 points behind as well, playing one less game than the Falcons. We talked about it a little bit earlier about how the Falcons are going to have this extended period of time after this game. We thought maybe it might be a Christmas thing, but then looking at these standings, you see they have 3 more games played than a team like St. Thomas, 2 more games played than Ferris State. It looks like some of these teams are going to be playing catch-up in terms of games played, total games played, and we can really see a shift in the standings.
Yeah, and that's why tonight's game is so important. You know, you want to get those 3 points. You want to build up something of a cushion, because you don't play another conference game if you're the Falcons until January 9th. And so that gives these other teams 5 weeks to catch up, to gain on you. And so you might not do anything wrong over the next month, and you still might find yourself dropping 1 or 2 spots in those standings. It's crucial for them to try to build that cushion tonight to try to limit whatever damage might come over the next few weeks.
And what do you think are some of the things that the Falcons are going to have to do here in the second period of play and then going into the third period of play to get this win tonight and gain that momentum into the break?
I think just staying aggressive and not being complacent. I mean, I don't think that'll be an issue for this team. I think they're still very hungry to beat this team and kind of put them in their place, especially after last night. And I think Dennis Williams, he values aggression. I think we talked about pregame, he values shot volume. I expect that to be a continuing trend. This isn't the type of team where after they score a goal, they kind of step back and play possession hockey and play defensive hockey. They keep pounding all game. I think that's going to be a theme tonight. I think they're going to keep trying to score. I think they're going to keep taking risks because this Northern Michigan team has proven that they're feisty, and so you want to try to put them away as soon as you possibly can.
All right, and with that will conclude our Rick Crow Intermission Report. After the break, we will send it back to Ben Korak for the second period of play, and then we will be back for the Martha Crow second Intermission Report. You're not going to want to go anywhere. More Falcon hockey after the break.
For all BGSU sports news and updates, follow Falcon Media Sports Network on Twitter X at BG_FMSN and head over to BGFalconMedia.com.
You know, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good.
goal of the Blues, and especially of the Blues Breakfast, is to make you feel good. So tune in every Saturday from 10 to 2, and you'll feel so good, you'll feel like balling the jack too.
You know I got dead aim. You know I feel so good. You know I feel so good. You know I feel so good. I feel like balling jack.
Teams back out of the dressing rooms, the Falcons and the Northern Michigan Wildcats heading into their second period of this second game of their two-game series here in the Slater Family Ice Arena, the final weekend series of the 2025 calendar season and the final Saturday game of the 2025 calendar year as well. Myself, Ben Korak, along with Nathan Burkett. Nathan, how nice do you think it's going to be for this team to head into a 3-week break before they play Ohio State in the first weekend of 2026?
Absolutely. We mentioned earlier a couple injuries to this team. Give this team a chance to heal up. Then you have an exhibition game against the Team USA's National Developmental Team, U18 team, to kind of warm yourself up before you go and play Ohio State and then Ferris State, and then coming back to conference play.
That most certainly a game we'll see some pretty impactful play from some somewhat less impactful team members, at least that we've seen in the first half of the 2025-2026 campaign. The only goal scored in that first period by Jeremy Minville, his second of the season. Ivan Korodiak's first assist of the season and first point since January 18th of 2025, was nearing in on a full calendar year, but got his second point in. It's an assist, and he's got 2 in his career now. And then Jaden Grant with his second assist of the season and his 7th total point. As we drop puck here in the middle 20 miles of this game between the Falcons and the Wildcats, an early lead for Bowling Green, who's able to keep the puck inside the offensive zone here. The pass to Jack Blake on the left side, fed it in tight. A good deflection in by Dom Ryman, right into Grandma. Grandma's knocked down to the ice. Most likely not due to a Falcon intention, but he's still down on his back next to the rack. And I would imagine, considering Northern Michigan's already got one of their 3 goaltenders injured, that another one is probably not what you want to see for a team that's just 1-16 on the season.
Adam Zlunka, it looked like to me, went up to Graham after the whistle there and apologized for the contact.
Of course, Oliver Al-Young Ashton, the other 3rd goaltender for Northern Michigan that is not dressed, was injured on the first weekend of November.
Played well in the games he played previously to that.
He was the starter, and William Grandma has not played too shabby either, although has yet to get his first win until yesterday in the win that Northern Michigan had over Bowling Green. Wrapped around the other side, Bettens, another feed in, and a score! Northern Michigan responds early on. The 7th goal of the season for Caden Galt. He's got 2 on the weekend, and Northern Michigan ties it up at 1.
Spinorama shot there. Rebound opportunity comes to him. Spins around, takes the shot on the forehand. Beats Steinman.
All in a flurry there, as 2 of the 3 goals yesterday were for Northern Michigan. And we're back up to even ice. Just 19:26 left to play in the second period. A quick goal for these Wildcats.
Galt, the alternate captain, continues to lead this team in goals. Now up to 7 on the weekend, 7 on the season.
Only 7 points as well. Not much of a passer is Caden Galt, but was an outstanding goal scorer at his last destination, which was Ferris State. Played 2 seasons at Ferris State, was the leader in goals, power play goals, game-winning goals, 2nd in points in 2024-25 for the Bulldogs in the final season of head coach Bob Daniels. Bowling Green quickly back in the offensive zone. McKinley down to the goal line, played by Waters, flipped over into the slot and directed away by Grandma with his stick. Now Argentina the other way, looks to split the defenders, diss it out to the right side. Burchill shot into Steinman, who's beat for the first time today, just a couple of seconds ago. Bowling Green off the half wall and can't get it outside the blue line. Burchill a toe drag chance, and Simonovic got it caught up in his skates. Dempsey off the glass into the offensive zone. 2 defensemen back for the Falcons will be the first there. 18:40 left to play in the second period. Falcons force it up the right side into the offensive zone. And no tip will cause an icing, and that'll be a perfect time for us to bring in station identification. 1-1 the score here in the Slater Family Ice Arena in Falcon Hockey.
You are listening to Falcon Media Sports Network coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Face-off coming back into the Bowling Green end of the ice. Northern Michigan skating a bit down. They're without a fourth-line centerman. They've played Tyler Stern and Landon McDonald essentially as extra skaters without a center to ground them. Ciccarello, Sil Collins, and Altricht are playing shifts in a third now. And they're also missing a defenseman, Nicholas Ardenaz, who was injured in the second period yesterday, skated just a couple of shifts in the third before exiting the ice for the second time in the game. Simonovic bumped down to the ice, headfirst into the boards, but not too heavy, so will not be a penalty and not much of a hit there, too far inland from the boards. Back in their own zone, Northern Michigan forces it up. Was there a tip? There was a tip against Northern. Steinman will stop it behind his cage. Falcons, a deep pass up is tipped ahead. Warren Clark gets it away out to the blue line. Karodiak a shot in, a weird bounce. Minville was in front again. That was the connection that led to Bowling Green's first goal. Now here's a breakaway. Left side, Bolduc. His shot off of the side of the net. A nice shot by Medrick Bolduc streaking in. Up the right wing comes Bowling Green, looking to turn it back around, down to the goal line. Wrapped it out into the slot. Norris takes steps in. High slot Norris. Shot in, deflected away by Altrichter off of his skates. Another block for this Northern Michigan team, leading by a lot in the CCHA. Low angle shot, dropped down in front of Steinman. He lost view of the puck. I think it caromed up into the netting possibly. There was a rebound chance in front and a high quality one.
Northern Michigan currently leads the shots on goal battle 14-12. 17-17 remain here in the second frame. Score 1-1.
Gert still Collins in the dot. Dropped down right on the dot. Still a stalemate, and it's pushed out to the blue line for Northern Michigan. Shot in, no rebound chances. It's directly to Brandon Wynot. Good pass up to Connor Levis. Left wing had a goal yesterday. Levis works in tight with Grandma, and he's pushed down to the boards. Sloan tried to force it in, skated away by Ciccarello. Dalton Norris gets in the way of Caden Galt, who was most likely going to be the first to that puck. A better skater than both McKinley and Norris, or at least a faster one. To Wynot, left side. His shot breaks the stick of Johnson. It's up high in the air, and it's gloved by Grandma as there's some big things going on. Oh, Bettens takes
That's Connor
Levis down to the ice. Grabbed him around the neck and pulled him down. No hand is in the air by the referees. Man, that looked like it could have been something.
Johnson, after his stick was broke, skated directly into Levis. And the two of them.
It doesn't look like anything's going to come from it. I hope they show the replay, because that was a takedown if I've ever seen one. And far less has been called. Officials today, Rick Nelson, Mark Forrest, the referees, and Billy Hancock and Patrick Giles, the linesman, here in Bowling Green. A rare game that we don't have Steve McKinchick as one of our referees. Given the day off is McKinchick. That's a staple here in the slate. Zlinko with the puck, back up to the blue line. Bowling Green with possession. Simonovic, a good move. His shot in is blocked. He's in tight again. Simonovic, a good move again. Backhands it off the side of the rack. A big play there by the defenseman. Didn't capitalize on it, but a very nice couple of sequences there. Flip to the corner. Argentina lifts it high and out past center. Steinman will kick it away to Crampton as it got in tight with the freshman goalie. Both goaltenders with a goal allowed. Steinman with 14 saves. Grandma with just 12. Deep pass up to Morneau is kept in center ice by Ryman. Onto the right wing. Morneau skates away with the puck. The forward through center ice is pointless in his last 3 games played is Noah Morneau. He's tipped down to the ice by Cleach. Maybe the stick got a bit low there, but no call. Again, a tip into Morneau, who's taken a beating from Anthony Cleach today in front of the blue paint. McKinley, low angle shot in, a rebound that's dropped on the slot, and a bit away from the puck was Brody Waters there. Kurodia keeps it in center ice. Morneau tried to take advantage of McDonald, who blew a tire twice. Sitting on the Northern Michigan blue line, back inside the Bowling Green blue line, and McKinley back the only one to gather. His lead pass up to Martin is just a bit long. I thought there was a touch for sure from Martin, but there's not. It's an icing against the Falcons. 15-15 left to play in the second and a 1-1 tie.
Officials.
And it looks like
correcting a mistake, it feels like.
So they're just going to drop puck in center.
Originally called an icing. They corrected, say there was a tip.
So BG will get the change that they wanted.
And they will take advantage of it, sending out a new line.
Duran against Altrichter in center ice. One back to Bowling Green. Jack Blake and Dalton Norris. Norris's lead pass up to Tyler Hodson, the extra skating forward today. A whistle and an offsides against the Falcons. Maybe a bit of a late call, but did look to be a bit offsides. 15-10 left to play in the second. We'll have a face-off to the Northern Michigan side of neutral ice. Falcons striking right to left across your radio dial right now. First line out for Northern Michigan, and the scoring line out for the Falcons. Back to Dalton Norris. Norris and Blake, the partnership on this shift. Up to Minville. Minville got a tip on it. Hodson into the corner, gets it away. Low angle shot. As a slap of the puck by Duran. Back out to the blue line. Blake to fire it in, and it's deflected up high in the air over the glass and out of play. 15 minutes left to play in the second. A much better offensive output today for the Falcons. You see, when Bowling Green's playing well, a lot of offensive zone possession time, and that's what we're seeing today from Bowling Green. A very big contrast from yesterday, in which Northern Michigan played 50-50 or even had more possession than the Falcons through the first two periods. Out to center ice, Simonovic between his legs. Kyle Bettens on a breakaway. Tries to get it to Galt, and Bettens and Galt connected for the first goal of the game by Northern Michigan, trying to do so there. It's a nice defensive play. And the puck got into the Northern Michigan bench, it looks like, so we'll drop puck center ice.
Well, I mentioned the puck that went up and out of play, last stoppage, found its way to a young fan who will be taking it home. An early Christmas present, courtesy of the Falcon hockey team.
Simonovic to the right wing. Breck McKinley with the puck on the right wing boards. A shot in tight with Grandma. Man, we're going to get another whistle and another offsides. And this 14th minute, well, what would be the 5th and 6th minute of the second period is ground to a halt with all the whistles. Faceoff's going to come out to center, one back by Northern Michigan. The defenseman Cleach will fire it in towards Steinman, who will stop it, and it'll squeak through his legs, but the Falcons taking control of the puck. Up the left wing comes McKinley, backhands it ahead, and it's kept out of the center by Argentina. It looks like Burchill battling for the puck. Cleach, the defenseman, with it again. Number 20, Anthony Cleach, scored a goal and 2 assists in 4 games played against BG last season, at 8 blocks as well. This is 2 years in a row that Dave Shyak's Wildcats have led the CCHA in total blocks. The icing against the Falcons is whistled off. And in the offensive zone comes Northern Michigan. Ciccarello spun out of play. A deep shot from Tynan Ewert, cleared into the half wall by Simonovic as it was toppling down on the doorstep of Steinman. Ryman streaking up the ice. Good pass out to the right wing comes Adam Zlinka. Good pass into the middle. Grant to fire it in. A penalty upcoming on a slashing to Northern Michigan. The puck doesn't find its way through, but Bowling Green should be going on a 2-minute power play.
Looks to be...
It's Silk-Collins, Girth Silk-Collins, who had 2 points yesterday. He's going to head to the box in the first power play of the game for the Falcons.
2 minutes for slashing will be the call from the official. This is the 4th power play for the weekend for Bowling Green. And up to this weekend, not including last night, they were averaging a goal every 4 power plays. So we'll see if they can maintain that.
0 for 3 yesterday were the Falcons. Waters Looked like he had a chance at winning the faceoff, but it was lost down behind the goal line and tossed out by Dempsey. And again, one of the best penalty killers for Northern Michigan, Nicholas Ardenaz, missing the game today for injury. And Gustav Stjernberg and Jackson Niedermeyer, 2 defensemen that play a lot in the power play, missing for the Falcons. So a well-placed Christmas break coming up to both of these teams, trying to get back healthy. Noah Morneau with the puck. Up to center ice. Jeremy Minville, the goal scorer today, had an assist yesterday as well. Just across to the high slot. Morneau gives it up. Waters a shot and a good save by William Grandma.
Grandma loses his stick on the play.
Morneau back up to the blue line. Norris with him. Morneau, high slot. Gets shooting room. Here's Norris. The shot wide left. Up to the right side. Minville. About a minute expired on the power play. Bowling Green at the point. Slap shot Minville into the chest of Grandma, and the junior netminder will hold on for Northern Michigan.
Grandma able to retrieve his stick. He lost it on that play. What a save. Fully extended out to stop that shot by Brody Waters.
Normally on the power play, you see Waters with his skates on the red line around the blue paint, and that time you saw him on the left face-off dot. As the Falcons now drop puck in the right face-off dot. A big face-off win for the Falcons there, out to the blue line. McKinley with the puck, working in high slot, slap shot, Duran, and it's blocked by Cleach up into the netting. Another puck drop is what we'll see here in a second. And we're going to put it on the right side of Grandma now. 54 seconds left in the power play for the Falcons. A 24.5% mark coming into this weekend. Probably much lower than that considering the 0 for 3 yesterday, all in the third period. Jaden Grant in for the dot. Lost it back to Northern Michigan. Cleach backhands it around for open icing space, and Dempsey's able to get it away. Sorry, that's Tynan Ewert. A pretty solid offensive defenseman. Playing on the penalty kill now. Grant at the left wing, he's bumped away. The puck stays with the orange and brown on the boards. Flipped out to the blue line. Kept in by Bowling Green with space McKinley. Down to the left wing, Emerson. Emerson down deep, trying to drag it into the middle. Emerson will have to pick up the puck. Zlinka battling net front there. Pass across the slot. Ciccarello got his stick in the lane. A nice play by the senior centerman. And it's up into the netting, and we'll get another dropped puck to the left of Grandma.
15 seconds remain on the penalty. 11:44 in the period.
Remember, it's Gert Silkon sitting for the last 15 seconds. And he'll come out, so the Falcon defensemen have to keep an eye on him, as we've had a couple of players come out of the box this weekend that have almost got breakaway goals. Dalton Norris with the puck. High blue line. Crampton slap shot in. Drop down Morneau. Looked like he ate most of that puck. An icing attempt by Northern Michigan will kill off the back end of this power play. So a successful penalty kill for both teams. 1 for 1 on those are the Falcons and the Wildcats. So Collins back up on the ice. BG takes it into the offensive zone. And they're offsides, though. So it'll come back out to center. So we're seeing 2 games in a row with little physicality from the Falcons. And you would maybe imagine that a beat-up team has taken a step back. But Dennis Williams in his press conference yesterday said that he wants more physicality from his team. And stems from both forwards and defensemen alike, as there was nobody really hitting anybody yesterday.
They showed some decent physicality in the first period tonight, but have not shown it since. I did like their play on that power play, and hopefully they can build some momentum off it, because I was not enjoying the Falcon play up to that point. They seem to be struggling.
Levis Karodiak with a shot. Bettens misses his hit, and now Northern Michigan skates it out. Evan Johnson. Lead pass up for Caden Galt, won't land. Bettens in the left wing boards in Northern Michigan O-zone. Galt in the left wing corner. Puck away south of the goal line. And it's brought up back north to the blue line. A D-to-D pass to Johnson. Johnson fires it off the half wall, tries to bounce it in front, but it won't get there. Skated away by Tyler Hodson. Hodson backhand up to center ice. Hodson flips it into the offensive zone behind the goal line. Levis, oh, a big hit there. Penalty upcoming to Bowling Green. Knocked down to the ice. Big was Evan Johnson. He's not happy about it. The Falcon is still laying on the ice behind almost everybody on the ice. That was Hodson that went for that hit.
Definitely a deserving penalty to Hodson.
Talking some to Bettens. I mean, he took a good 3-4 steps into that hit and didn't connect in full. Bettens clearly not happy and getting a talking to from Bowling Green's inclusion in the lineup tonight. Max Martin. But Tyler Hodson, 2 games in a row with a penalty, will serve out 2, and we might get a review for a major here if they can determine intent from the junior transfer from RPI. Tyler Hodson, 20-point scorer each of the last 2 seasons. And there it is.
There it is, yep.
So we're going to get a review for a major on Tyler Hodson.
Hodson was shoved down to the ice right before he made that hit. He got shoved down, stood up, and seemed to pick out a Northern Michigan jersey and just skated full force right into him. Pure numbers.
Evan Johnson, the victim of it. Again, most of the hit was missed by Hodson, luckily enough for what could have been an absolutely crippling blast. Yeah, Hodson caught him and put Johnson's face right into the Coca-Cola sign. So certainly a deserving penalty. Whether or not it's a major is not up to us. It's up to number 25, Rick Nelson, and number 13, Mark Forrest, the 2 referees tonight here on the slate. Although wouldn't be surprised if they call this a 5-minute major, and would be unfortunate for the Falcons, the extra skating Tyler Hodson today.
I would understand if they call this either way. Just a 2-minute minor, I'd understand, and if they do choose to go 5-minute major, I totally understand that view too.
Hodson, more an offensive weapon for the Falcons. 12 points on 5 goals and 7 assists this season. One of the leaders in the Falcons in points as well. 23 points last season at RPI in 36 games. 22 points 2 seasons ago in his freshman campaign, and 13 goals from the freshman at Rensselaer. Yep. So Hodson will skate to the dressing room. The Falcons will have a 5-minute penalty kill now with 10 minutes and 37 seconds left to go in the second period. And a huge opportunity for a struggling power play in Northern Michigan to, 1, gain some momentum, and 2, gain the promise of the scoreboard as well.
Coach Williams said back on Tuesday during the weekly press conference held by BGSU Hockey that he wants to see Hodson play mad because he seems to be playing best when he's angry, but here Hodson let the emotions, in my opinion, get the best of him.
Second major this season, the only other one a week ago, the first Princeton game. It was Ivan Korodiak that put a big hit on Kai Daniels behind the goal line. And he skated off for a 5-minute major and a 10-minute misconduct. And now we see the same to Tyler Hodson.
Brody Waters will serve the penalty for Hodson.
Adam Zlinka into the right wing corner, flipped up the ice long, and a good icing. Grandma will have to stop it behind his net. A 1-man forecheck from Jaden Grant, who will now peel off. And they'll set back into their normal break. Here's Argentina down the right wing. Zlinka gets the puck off the boards. Northern Michigan with the puck, though. Here's Ewert to the right side. Burchill, number 18, back down deep. He plays defenseman on this power play unit. Here's Ewert. Slap shot blocked by the Falcon. Looked to be Dalton Norris, still on his knees. Now he gets up on this penalty kill. He's really hurting after that blocked shot. A full sell by the captain. Up to the blue line. Burchill with the puck. To the middle of the blue line. Ewert at the point. Now to Burchill. Down to the right wing. Altrichter. Altrichter switches spots with Burchill. Now he's at the top. Burchill's on the right side. The right-handed shot back around to Argentina. Back up to the blue line. Ewert with the puck. Where's a check from Zlinka? Gets the puck away to more green and gold. Pass up. High left wheel. Back to Altrichter. Right side off the block shot. Back to the high slot. Caden Galt pulls it to the inside. Good move, Galt. Moves it to the middle. It's quick shot by Burchill. It's into the chest of Steinman. Taken out of the play is a Wildcat on the blue paint.
And now a really big shoving match. Argentina involved.
3:40 left to play in the power play.
Jaden Grant and Argentina involved in that one.
Face-off coming to the right of Steinman.
Norris seems to be...
Looks like maybe Altrichter still down on the ice. That is Altrichter, and that's a big loss. And we're going to get another penalty assessed to another Falcon.
I believe that might be Norris getting to the box.
It was Dalton Norris who had a big block and took out Altrichter. Roughing after the whistle is the call to Dalton Norris. Just a 2-minute minor, but now a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes, and then a minute 40 of 5-on-4 yet again. Altrichter took that face first, 14-on-14 crime. Actually, they got the wrong guy, it looks like. At least on that play. Simonovic was the man that took out Altrichter, and then Norris was away from
involved
that.
in a shoving match, unrelated to that part. Norris, though,
hard to believe that there was a shoving match and you took only the Falcon.
Want to clarify for the fans, though, listening, Norris seems no worse for wear from that shot he blocked. Just a stinger in the moment.
On the right wing, Bowling Green to the right wing. Caden Galt, slap shot, and he scores.
Third goal of the weekend.
Out of the box comes Dalton Norris, 2 on the day for Caden Galt. And Northern Michigan has a 2-0 lead with still 3 minutes and 35 seconds left of power play.
Third on the weekend for the senior former Bulldog.
Face-off won directly back. 9 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the second period. Wildcats playing their best hockey of the season this weekend, and the Falcons just with some poor instances today. One on a breakaway that they couldn't stifle, and now with a bad penalty and a major taken by Tyler Hodson has all but given Northern Michigan the lead. Bettens flips it into the offensive zone. Offsides is the call. Karodiak was knocked down to the ice on a big check. Waters still sits in the box for the next 3:19 on the major penalty. Out at center ice, going into the dot is Jakob Altrichter. That drew the penalty on, or possibly drew the penalty on Dalton Norris. We don't know if it was the right call, but him knocked down to the ice prompted a roughing against Dalton Norris, and Norris's penalty resulted in a first couple of second slap shot goal by Caden Galt. His 8th of the season, 2nd of the game, 3rd of the weekend. Down the right wing comes Argentina. Argentina leaves it back for Altrichter. Altrichter from his own zone works it out to the left side. He can't enter into the zone, and he's turned back away into his own. 8:30 left to play in the second. Under 3 minutes to kill for the Falcons now, skating 4-on-5. And slapped away by Morneau. BG will get a change. Successful shift there from that unit that didn't even allow an entry to the Wildcats. Tynan Ewart skates it up, now leaves it back for Matthew Argentina. Argentina to Altrichter, now back to Argentina, to the right wing, Burchill. Burchill with speed on the half wall, leaves it back to Galt. Back up at the point, Galt a shot in. Saved by the Falcons, cleared away. A good stop there by Steiny. Back behind the goal to retrieve Warren Clark. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left to go in the penalty kill for the Falcons. Kyle Bettens is bumped at the blue line. Puck on the right wing blue line. Can they get it out? The Falcons can't. Here's Warren Clark to the left side. Played by Aiden Hutchinson. Down toward the goal line. Now back up to his point man Clark. Clark dumps it down deeper, south of the goal line. In the corner, picked off by the Falcons. Karodiak ices it down. Falcons have a long change as well. From their own zone to the bench. That's the farthest one away from their goaltender. 7:10 left to play in the second. 1:30 left to play on the penalty kill. Bettens takes it up through center. He's poked away by Korodiak. That gives a cursory check as well. Slowly iced down by the Falcons. .120. Burchill on the right wing. Altrichter with the entry. Moves it to the inside. He's got the puck on the left wing boards. Rinks it around. McKinley will be the first there. Puck away to Crampton, the freshman. Down behind the goal line. And the goal of Steinman. Pins the puck up against the boards to waste some time. Under a minute left to play in the power play for Northern Michigan. They've scored during this power play, but it's given credit to the penalty on Dalton Norris, not the 5-minute major to Tyler Hodson. And that's currently what we're killing out. 40 seconds left to play on the power play. Puck back into the Northern Michigan end. Huge forecheck by Max Martin, almost turned over by the Falcons. Martin spun down to the ice. Argentina with speed. Down the left side comes Matthew Argentina, looking for a pass. He takes a check, gets the puck out to the blue line. It's iced down by the Falcons toward Grandma. Grandma and net will stop it, sweep it to Johnson. Grant off, Levis on. Pass up, Simonovic keeps it center ice. 15 seconds left to go before Brody Waters comes out of the box. Up at center. BG will get to the puck first. It's Levis. Levis into the slot. Trying to pull it away is Linka. Now Tyler Stern to the right side. Bolduc moves it back to the Ciccarello. Ciccarello, the shot in off of the stick of Steinman. Waters back on the ice. Penalty kill on the 5-minute by the Falcons. Kind of successful, kind of not. They gave up a goal. It's a 2-1 lead for Northern Michigan. Up for Waters in the Northern Michigan end. The second period for many of the games this season plaguing Bowling Green. Back up to center ice, Crampton to his partner Simonovic. Back to Crampton on the right side in his own zone. Lead pass up, tipped ahead. Duran takes Dempsey into the boards. BG skates the puck away. Down behind the goal line. Waters couldn't get a pass off. Ciccarello off the glass and out of play. Danny Ciccarello. And we're going to get our immediate timeout. Again, a late one, 2 periods in a row. 4:51 left to play in the second period. This one brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, proud creators of the Ale Ziggy Zumba, a light ale made in collaboration with BG Athletics, a fan favorite in the Madhouse on Mercer, Stroh Center, and Deut. Also available at 145 South Main Street in downtown Bowling Green. For latest menus and Juniper Brewing Company details, go to juniperbrew.com. 2-1, Northern Michigan leads off a power play goal by Caden Galt, his second of the game. You're listening to Falcon Hockey here on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Bowling Green Falcon Hockey continues their CCHA play in the second game of the weekend series as they face Northern Michigan Wildcats on Friday, December 6th at the Slater Family Ice Arena. Falcon Media Sports Network's Ben Korak and Nathan Burkett will have the call with pregame at 5:40 p.m. and puck drop at 6:07 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 FM, the home of Falcon Hockey.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
This is Falcon Media Sports Network hockey coverage on WBGU 88.1 FM.
4:51 left to play in the second period. A 1-goal lead for Northern Michigan. They've scored both of their goals here in the second period. Caden Galt is 7th and 8th of the season, his 2nd and 3rd of the weekend. Within the first minute, and then in a power play at the 10:50 mark. The only goal by the Falcons late in the first period. In the final minute, Jeremy Minville's 2nd of the season, assisted by Korodiak and Jaden Grant. Jaden Grant's the only point scorer for us today in the Falcon Media Sports Network pick the stick battle. Zlinka, Max Martin, Quinn Emerson, and Jaden Grant have all been picked, and Grant the only point scorer with an assist. Jeremy Minville back up to the blue line. McKinley down deep for Minville. Minville with the puck, the freshman searching for a pass, loses it for a second, flings it back to McKinley, but it's wide of McKinley and long back into the BG end of the ice. 4 1/4 left to play in the second. BG most likely wanting to tie this up before we head into the second intermission report that's brought to you by, in memory, or at least, of Marta Crow, longtime BGSU hockey fan and WBGU 88.1 FM listener. Here's Dom Ryman out to the blue line. Crampton, Norris with space. His shot in, deflected by Bettens. Down at the goal line, Zlinka turns it back around. In tight, a rebound chance for Ryman. He couldn't get a shot on goal off. Poked outside the blue line. The Falcons looking to get it to space in their D-man and ended up poking it off sides. Here's Crampton. Shot high, a diving save by Grandma. A great glove by the junior goalie.
Now that's a highlight reel save. We'll have to wait and see if that makes the top 10 plays of the week by the CCHA this weekend.
Just a nice shot by Crampton, who had a shooting lane. Maybe took a little bit too long. And a screener in front, that was Zlinka. Not too much of a screen there. A full shot had Grandma to try and glove it. But a very nice glove it was. Around to Bolduc. Bolduc to flip it out of his own zone. It's out to the neutral zone. Back to Tynan Ewert, who assisted on Caden Galt's goal. That was about 7 minutes ago now on the Dalton Norris penalty. Here's Max Martin all the way in to try and get to the puck first, but it's an icing against the Falcons. And this is going to be a second period for head coach Dennis Williams and Matt Nicholson, Jacob Pritchard, and associate coach Curtis Carr that you're really going to want to forget.
Not the first time we've said that this season about
about
second period.
2 periods yesterday.
Said that about a whole game yesterday.
Up to center ice, Warren Clark. Back to his defensive partner. And Zane Dempsey. Back to Clark, who has to backtrack for the puck. Falcons at a 1-2-2. On the full court, Korodiak back in their own zone. Flips away to McKinley. McKinley and Korodiak, a very solid defensive duo. Korodiak, one of the more physical and best defensive defensemen on the team. Morneau, a deep shot into the chest of Graham, and he made him work to make that save. But McKinley with some great offense as he's displaying this season. Coming into the weekend, 7 of his last 9 games played, he'd had an assist, and he was riding a 4-game assist streak. Now that was broken yesterday without a point, had Breck McKinley, but he's really come alive in the point department this year. McKinley with 11 assists, only behind Quinn Emerson.
McKinley already this season has set a new career high for assists and points in a season. Is 1 goal away from tying his career high in that category as well.
Ewert back to the blue line. Cleach flips up the ice, dropped down by Emerson with the glove. Down deep to Minville. Minville battling with Cleach, takes Cleach into the boards. Now away to Ciccarello, who wraps it around his own goal. Puck still behind the goal line. The Falcons ferocious back there as they trying to turn the puck over in their offensive zone. 2:30 left to play in the second period. In the corner, now back up to the blue line and not held in by Crampton. Falcons have to get on sides to Duran. He's got open ice. Stays on sides. Duran looking for a pass. He shoots it in toward Grandma. It's off of Grandma into the netting. We'll get a reset and a dropped puck. 2:20 left to play in the second, and a 2-1 Northern Michigan lead.
Shots 20-20 now, which means doing some quick math. Shots on the period are in favor of BG, 10-9.
Jaden Grant to Zane Dempsey. Dempsey around his own net to try and clear it out for the first time in a little bit. Northern Michigan's able to do so. Tipped back in by the Falcons trying to guard the blue line was Ryman, but it's out to center ice anyway. Now into the Bowling Green end. The transfer from Miami of Ohio, Richard Simonovic. Simonovic, his first goal of the season and the first CCHA series of the season at Lake State. There was a backhanded try by McKinley, low angle. Simonovic back at the blue line, in tight with his fellow defenseman. Now behind the goal line. Dempsey takes his man into the boards. To the right side, McKinley. To Zlinka, slap shot in tight, and it's deflected away. That was a block by Dempsey. Down to the Falcon end of the ice. An icing against Northern Michigan. 1:30 left to play in the second. So aside from the power plays that have derailed the Falcon offense, Bowling Green's lived in the offensive zone, and although they haven't had a goal since a minute left in period number 1, you take away those 2 penalties, it's a completely different period here, Nathan.
Absolutely. Especially the second one, you make from Dalton Norris, you make it a 5-on-3, and Galt wastes no time.
BG really killed off the rest of that 5-minute major quite handily. And who knows what would have happened if Galt hadn't scored within the first couple of seconds. Martin's cross-check down to the ice, a late call coming from Evan Johnson. I think the referee only saw Max Martin down on the ice, but the stick was used as a weapon by Johnson, and with 1:25 left, we're going to get a 2-minute power play for the Falcons and a must score if you're Bowling Green, who's 0 for 1 on a man advantage today.
0 for 4 on the weekend. Going into this weekend, BG was tied for the 9th best power play in the NCAA. Have not lived up to it so far this weekend.
No more no. In for the dot. 5 in the offensive zone for the Falcons. Ciccarello in for the draw, and Morneau's going to be kicked out. They've had a tough time trying to stay in the face-off circles today. Or this weekend, I should say, but that's the first one today. They had probably 7 or 8 instances of being kicked out of the dot yesterday. BG wins the puck back. Crampton, the defenseman at the blue line, to Norris. 2 defensemen on this power play unit. 1:16 left in the period. That's going to be the marker to watch, not the power play time, because there's extra time there. Dom Ryman. High face-off wheel. Ciccarello gives him a bump, gets the puck out to center ice. Back to Ryman. Ryman down the right wing. Looks to disc it out. Flips over to Grandma. Back up to the blue line goes Bowling Green. Norris to the right side. Braden Crampton. BG's got the short change now in this power play. Under a minute left to play. Crampton looks to put it to the right side. It won't connect to Dom Ryman. Morneau and Waters, the other forwards on this power play. But that unit will have to change off, as McKinley will head on the ice and go grab the puck. So now it's Grant, Emerson, Minville, Duran, and Breck McKinley. McKinley the best passer on the team, quite probably. So to Quinn Emerson. Duran and Grant, 2 great centermen for the Falcons, and Jeremy Minville's been the hottest stick that the Falcons have over the last 3 games. Here's a slap shot in. Is blocked by Northern Michigan, but not outside the blue line. 10 seconds left to play in the second period. Ben Duran down deep. Emerson tried to wrap it in. Cleared away by Northern Michigan. 5 seconds to go. The puck in the Bowling Green end on the power play. We're going to start the third period with 35 seconds of power play to the Falcons on the penalty to Evan Johnson. But the damage is done. 2 goals in the second period by Caden Galt in Northern Michigan. They lead 2-1 over the Falcons after we head into the final frame of play. You're going to hear the Marta Crow second intermission report from Austin Roos and Kevin Hutchinson back in the Cooling Center studios. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Looking for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hey everyone, Zach here. Thank you for listening to 88.1 WBGU FM. Additional information about the station can be found on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by searching at WBGU FM. There, you can stay up to date on the latest WBGU news or learn about any upcoming radio events in the community. Thank you. Here's Zach, signing off.
Hey BG Falcon fans, you're here with Paige Kohler on the women's basketball team. These are my Falcon 4 favorite things about basketball. First off, I love competing. I love being able to win, and I love the winning feeling. Second, I love that it's a team sport. I love being out there with 4 other people on the court. Third, all the traveling that we get to do. I've been to so many new places because of basketball. And lastly, I love making new friends and just playing the sport I love with my best friends.
for a BGSU Athletics talk radio show? Tune into the Zig Zone every Sunday at 4 p.m., where a panel of Falcon Media Sports Network members discuss the hottest BG sports topics. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cooling Center for the Marta Crow Intermission Report. I am Austin Roos. I am joined here by Kevin Hutchison for the second intermission report, brought to you by, in memory of Marta Crow, Falcon hockey fanatic and avid Falcon hockey fan on WBGU 88.1 FM. And we are here to bring you a recap of the second period of play. Kevin, what happened in the second period?
Well, Austin, I don't think it's an exaggeration to call that sort of an unmitigated disaster in the second period. I know that sounds like very hyperbolic language, but you go into that first intermission leading by 1, surrender 2 goals to the same player in a 20-minute span in Caden Galt. I mean, this is just a situation now. The Falcons have to be firing on all cylinders in this third period, and I think you look just a lot of inaccuracy in terms of BG's shot taking. They have 44 total shots, and yet only 21 of those are shots on goal. They're just not aiming correctly. They're not being precise, and that's really hurting them in this game.
All right, and with that, we will go to a quick break, and we will be back with our roundtable discussion of what happened there in the second period. And then shortly after that, we will have our Bill and Karen Hoffert 3 stars to watch for our post-game show later on. 3 players or a couple players that we have our eyes on that might win that award for the night. So with that, we will take a quick break, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The BGSU men's basketball team will host Aquinas College at the Stroh Center on Sunday, December 7th. The Falcons and the Saints will tip off at 4 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Artie Abrego and Andrew Helkowski will have the call live from the Stroh Center, starting at 3:45 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cooling Center for the Marta Crow second intermission report. I'm Austin Roos, and I'm joined here by Kevin Hutchinson. What are some of the things that we saw there in the second period that kind of led to, as you put it, unmitigated disaster?
Well, they didn't keep their foot on the gas. I mean, you allow Northern Michigan to catch up and actually overtake you. I said during the first intermission that Caden Galt was going to make his presence known, and he must have listened, because he rattled off 2 goals in that 20-minute span. I mean, I think if you're BG, like we said before, this is your last conference game before January 9th. If you lose tonight, and moreover, if you get swept by a previously winless team, you're going to have 4 weeks to keep thinking about it, and that's not ideal for this BG team. They got to find a way. I think they still can. I mean, there are 20 minutes of hockey left, but they need to be precise, and they need to be efficient offensively and make sure they're taking the right shots to put it in the net.
Absolutely. You mentioned the right shots there. The Falcons so far in the game are leading in total shots with 44, but only 21 of those shots have been on net, compared to Northern Michigan, who's taken 28 shots. 20 of those shots have been on net. So, yeah, the Falcons are taking more shots, sure, but are they the same quality of shots that Northern Michigan's taking?
Yeah, definitely. And also the Falcons have had 2 power plays, and they've gone empty on both of them. I mean, that's just, when you have that 5-4 advantage, you have to take advantage of that. And that's just not something we've seen from BG. And as we said previously, this is the time when you have to get that cushion and get those playoff points to give yourself a cushion for later in the season. If BG ends up getting swept in this series, you're just not going to see that happen. And we're seeing, the defensive issues starting to show themselves, and just not a great look. Obviously, the game's not over, but they really need to do some soul searching over these next 15 minutes and come out swinging in the third.
Absolutely. You mentioned it briefly there, the power plays. That was a very, I would call it chippy and in some ways an ugly period for both teams in terms of just how physical things got. We saw multiple times both teams battling back and forth around the goaltender nets, leading to some penalties, some major penalties, and one of which Northern Michigan was able to capitalize on.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just not, I mean, that's when you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot as a team. I mean, it's one thing to get beat straight up. It's another thing to make mistakes that allow your opponent to beat you. And I think just if you're Bowling Green, BG's in a position where I think the fan base and I think the players expect to make a run at the Mason Cup in a couple of months. Last season, they made it to the second round of the playoffs. But if you're dropping these kind of games to these kind of teams that you really have no business losing to, it really casts a shadow on what you want to go. Like, are you really a contending team if you can't handle an opponent like this? It raises a lot of questions. And I think even if BG comes back and wins this in the third period, I think there are still going to be some doubts hanging over this team over the next couple weeks.
Absolutely. And with that, we will take a quick break and we will be back to look over some of the players that we might have a chance or they might have a opportunity of being the Bill and Karen Hoffert stars of the game. We'll take a look at a couple players on the radar for that, and then we'll go around the CCHA to look at some of the scores going on. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this quick break.
Hey, BGSU graduate Jason Jackson from the Miami Heat here. When I was a Falcon, there was BGRSO. Now it's Falcon Media Sports Network. Keep up with all BGSU sports news and action by following BG_FMSN on Twitter/X and check out BGFalconMedia.com. Hi, Ziggy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Marta Crow Second Intermission Report. I'm Austin Roos. I'm here with Kevin Hutchinson, and we are looking at the players that we might consider for the Bill and Karen Hoffert stars of the game tonight. Who are some of the players that you're looking at, Kevin?
Yeah, well, I think Caden Galt obviously needs to be your front runner here. He's been the offensive engine for the Wildcats with 2 goals. He's sort of the reason that they're dominant in this game. And I think another player, Wildcat goaltender William Graham, he has a .952 save percentage, and he really locked the Falcon offense down in that second period. I think those are the 2 players I'm really looking at as the stars of the game.
All right. And in terms of around the CCHA and how it affects certain standings, we have Ferris State currently going in out of the first period, has a 1-0 lead over the number 1 ranked in the CCHA, Minnesota State. So far on an upset watch. I know it's only 1 point in the first period, but definitely something we're going to keep our eye on as it develops. And you also have St. Thomas with a 3-1 lead over Lake Superior State. Those teams pretty close in terms of points. Lake Superior State, of course, with a couple more games played, but the same amount of points. And with that, we will have our final thoughts here. Kevin, what are some of the things that you believe the Falcons need to do here going into the final period of play to come back and pull this one out?
I think you just got to be insanely aggressive. You got to go all out on offense. You got to try to score quickly into the third period, because if you get into that back half of the third period, if you get into those last 10 minutes of regulation and you're still down without another goal scored, I mean, they got to try to score quickly, tie this thing up, change the momentum. And also, you want to try to win in regulation. You don't really want this going to overtime where you don't really know what's going to happen. You want to win this game in regulation, so I think they got to come out strong, be aggressive, and just make sure they're taking the right shots and taking accurate shots, and making sure those shots are on the net instead of off target.
Yeah, and we mentioned it at the end of the last intermission report. We said they have to keep the momentum going. They have to keep the foot on the gas, and about 1 minute into the second period, they let up a goal, and the game's now tied, and momentum was completely in Northern Michigan side of the ice there. And I believe that translates perfectly well into what we're going to need to see in the third period. I think if the Falcons come out and they aren't playing physical and they aren't getting the right shots on net, I think they are going to be in for something really tough at the end of the game. We did see last night they had 20 shots on goal in the third period. They're going to need to replicate that here in the final period of play.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think that's something they're going to have to focus on because, yeah, this is a crucial game. You know, your last conference game in the month of December, even though we're still in the single digits of December. And once again, you want to try to win this in regulation. You don't want to tango in overtime. So we'll see. I mean, there's still plenty of hockey left. Noah Morneau still has not really made his presence known, so we'll see what happens.
Alrighty, and with that, that'll conclude our Marta Crow intermission report of the game. We'll take a quick break, and then we will send it back out to the Slater Ice Arena for the third period of play, and we'll be back here for the post-game show. So do not go anywhere. There is more BG hockey after the break.
The BGSU men's basketball team returns to action at the Stroh Center on Saturday afternoon to take on Utah Valley. The Falcons and Wolverines will tip off at 1 p.m. Falcon Media Sports Network's Foster Rosthai and Dawson Pelter will have live coverage of the game beginning at 12:45 p.m. on Falcon Radio.
Ever heard of Falcon Media Sports Network's broadcasts on Falcon Radio or WBGU 88.1 FM but don't know where to listen? Well, set down the radio, pick up your phone, and go to bgfalconmedia.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to stream Falcon Radio and WBGU 88.1 FM for all broadcasts.
The tie-breaking game here between Bowling Green and Northern Michigan, and the all-time record 63, and 11 between Bowling Green and Northern Michigan. And actually, if you take the last about 25 games into account, Northern Michigan's pretty dominated the Falcons, and they're looking to complete their not only their second win of the season, but their first series sweep of the season this period against the Falcons. They lead 2-1. Northern Michigan does over Bowling Green, and 2 goals scored in that second period. And Nathan, if you're Bowling Green, you really need to get out and back on top in a big way, because you cannot let this go to overtime and be able to lose the weekend in points to Northern Michigan. You at least need to be able to skate into your break with a split.
Exactly. You cannot let up. You cannot, going into this weekend, only claim 2 points. Many people going into this weekend thought that this would be a 6-point sweep for the Falcons. It would set them up well, potentially even move them up into second place in the standings, depending on how the Bemidji State series goes. And instead, it's looking like there's a chance that you might not grab any points.
Into the face-off circle goes Noah Morneau, along with Ryman and Waters. Crampton and Norris back as defensemen for the Falcons. Altricht are out there skating forward for Northern Michigan, along with Medrick Bolduc and Caden Galt. And a power play to start this third period, as you'll notice, because there's only one defenseman on the ice. That's Anthony Cleach, who skates the only defenseman out of the 4 players on the ice for Northern Michigan. 3 forwards and a defenseman. An odd penalty-killing unit, but Northern Michigan's riding with it. 25 seconds left to play in the power play for Bowling Green. Evan Johnson will come out of the box in just a couple of seconds. and get it back up to even strength as the Falcons look to even the game up. Puck kept inside the blue line to the left wing. Dom Ryman down behind the goal line. Low angle shot in. Waters in front, but he couldn't clean it up. Now pass out to the blue line. Lead up to just in front of the penalty box where Evan Johnson will skate out right now. And the penalty kill is successful for Northern Michigan. 0 for 5 this weekend are the Falcons on man advantages. Ryman bumped down to the ice. He's got the puck on the left wing, looking to feed it in. Now spins it back around. Ciccarello lets it go wide. Waters will be the first there for the Falcons. Swept up to the blue line. Karodiak dumps it down. He's got an assist on the Jeremy Minville goal, the opening goal of the game and the only goal by the Falcons today in the first period. Slap shot, Karodiak into the chest of Grandma, and it's knocked into the corner. Ryman's been everywhere on this first shift. He's got the puck, gives it up to Duran. Now to Crampton. Crampton makes a move, slices it into the corner to Duran again. The senior forward down deep, back around for Karodiak. Karodiak and Argentina. Argentina around to the left wing boards. Quinn Emerson stops the puck dead. Now it's out to the blue line. Minville in. Quinn Emerson with the puck at his feet. Bowling Green with the puck. McKinley with the shot in. Grandma into his pillow, and he'll stop the play. Just under 2 minutes expired in the first period. And you can't wait too long if you're the Falcons to be able to get on the board. You really don't want this to go to overtime, and you don't want to have to pull the goalie still down 1.
Absolutely. Bowling Green struggling so far to get shots through on to Grandma. Through the first 2 periods, Northern Michigan made a total of 12 block shots, led by Tanner Ewert with 4.
Minville pushes the puck into the corner through the legs of Bettens. A nice play by Minville off of the draw to keep it in the offensive zone. Minville takes his man down to the ice. It's Dempsey with the puck now for Northern Michigan. It's just barely outside the blue line. Flipped in by Caden Galt. Steinman with the puck away to Simonovic. Pushes it up to Minville on the left wing boards. Minville has maybe been the best player on the ice for the Falcons today. He's had some outstanding shifts. He's been good on both ends of the ice. A 200-foot player is just a freshman for the Falcons is Minville. Played in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League where he scored 185 points and 267 career games played, did Minville. Back behind the goal line, Waters pinned up in the corner with Dom Ryman battling away for the puck. Tyler Stern in there, as well as Tynan Ewert. Puck away with orange and brown possession. Still with the puck, Dom Ryman. He's been outstanding to start this third period as well. 17:20 left to play in this third period. Puck out to the blue line. McKinley able to hold it in. His D-to-D pass won't connect. Grant with the shot is blocked. Now Karodiak, he shoots, he scores! Ivan Karodiak, his first as a Falcon.
And his first in the NCAA.
That's a big one for both Bowling Green and also for the Ukraine native. His first assist since January 18th, where he scored his first career point. He's gone pointless since. Until today, he scored a goal and an assist, and they're going to save that puck for Ivan Karodiak. Big shot from the left side by the left-handed shot, and the Falcons have tied it up at 2. Assisted by Grant and McKinley. That's Grant's second assist of the game, his third of the season, and McKinley now has an assist in 8 of the last 10 games played. Crampton to get it outside of his own blue line. It's dumped back down by Northern Michigan without possession. Max Martin with the puck high in the air out to center ice. Tipped ahead, Argentina. The whistle blows. And I think we're going to get a hand pass maybe. .248 the time of that goal in the third period. Grant and McKinley the assists. What a goal. A huge goal to start it by Ivan Karodiak, too.
A player who does all the little things right. Block shots, lays hits, breaks up plays. Good to see him get rewarded with his first career goal.
McKinley now tied for the team lead in assists with Quinn Emerson at 12. Here's a dispatch up to center ice, slapped ahead by Caden Galt. Galt works through, tries to split the defense. It's handed off to Silcones, and Silcones' shot is stifled by the Falcons. Now Max Martin up the left wing. Northern Michigan is back in numbers. And the Falcons will just go for a change as they dump it in. 2-2 the score, back up to even ice for the Falcons. Now they can focus on getting a goal and getting a win and skating away with a split weekend, which is the only way to salvage what was a pretty poor loss for the Falcons yesterday. And somebody touched it on the bench of Northern Michigan. The puck will come back out toward the Bowling Green O-Zone.
Coach Willie did say in last night's press conference after the defeat that there is no alternative for tonight's game. It's a must-win. A draw will not suffice, and I'm assuming that an overtime win would also not suffice.
19 points for the Falcons in 11 games played, trailing both Minnesota State and Bemidji in the conference standings, ahead of Augustana and Michigan Tech. Michigan Tech does not play this weekend. Augustana plays Bemidji State. The shot in over the head of Grandma. It's behind the goal line of Northern Michigan. Bowling Green still trying to put together some offense. They've lived in the offensive zone when they're not on penalties. Wrapped around, a cleanup try by the Falcons slot. Shot in and deflected away. A good save by Grandma. Down behind the goal line again. Away into the corner. Minville takes his man down to the ice. Almost turns it over. He does, but it's not in the offensive zone. Durant to the puck before Altrichter. He takes it in. Onsides does Durant. Disks it over to Quinn Emerson behind the goal to wrap it around, but he's shut down. Puck still behind the cage. Grandma doesn't know which way to look. Emerson and Durant battling for the puck behind the net. And it's away to the Wildcats. Pinned back up in the corner by Emerson. Dropped down in the slot. Altrichter pulls it off. And now Northern Michigan with possession here. 15-20 left to play in the third period. Dom Ryman with the puck. He's bumped by Aiden Hutchinson. Grant takes it in off sides. Granter down to the goal line. Flips it in up high into Grandma, and he's able to hold on. 2-2 the score. 15-10 left to play in the third. Update on our Falcon Media Sports Network Pick the Stick as well. The only points scored today are by my selection, Jaden Grant. He's got 2 points for his 2 assists. Adam Zlinka, Quinn Emerson, and Max Martin have not found a point yet today. The selections of Lucas Kleinmeyer, Tyler Kavlitz, and Nathan Burkett to my right. And a 2-2 game for the Falcons, who have scored on Jeremy Minville's second goal of the season and Ivan Karodik's first career goal. Here's a shot by Dom Ryman. That was a very nice one. And wore it off the right shoulder, did Grandma. Into the corner, Zlinka takes a bump. Tries to peel the puck away. Dom Ryman in the right wing. Seems like he's always got the puck on his tape. Here's McKinley. Banks it off the half wall to Ryman. Ryman defeated into the slot. He's taken down into the half wall behind the net. Ryman in again, pressed into the shelf. In the left wing corner, Bowling Green O-Zone. Jaden Grant, Breck McKinley, and Rihard Simonovic looking on as Johnson and Ciccarello have taken out the Falcon offenders. Now Grant peels the puck away. He's taken into the boards by Dempsey. Dempsey on the half wall, now to the left wing. Zlinka off, Waters on. They get a change as the puck is still neutral. Up against the orange rim and the bottom of the boards. Kept out by Brody Waters as the Falcon down on the ice. Waters a good move. Up to McKinley. McKinley works in. His shot, drop down, and Graham will reach to his left and glove the puck. We'll have another face-off in the offensive zone for Bowling Green, who's pretty much yet to surrender possession, Nathan.
Yep, Grandma trying not to give up any momentum, trying to keep this game calm, let his team control the pace.
26 shots on goal for the Falcons, 21 for Northern Michigan. Falcons have outshot the Wildcats in this period 5-1 with 5 minutes and 48 seconds expired in the final frame. Down behind the goal line, Ewert around to Bettens. Bettens flips it up high in the air, 9-iron shot there. Caden Galt looks to feed it to himself. Slap shot in, Bettens into the corner. Having to get it onside was Northern Michigan. So Bettens will tip it away back in his own zone to the Wildcats. It's up into the hand of Matt Nicholson, the assistant coach, newly to the Falcons this season. Played at Colgate from 2000-2004, did Nicholson. He's a defenseman specialist. One of the guys that understood Jackson Niedermeyer's ability to play on the defensive side, and his group playing down 2 men, Stjernberg and Niedermeyer, out due to injury. and hoping to be back by the time conference play comes around again against Ferris State in the second weekend of January.
Well, Murnau kicked out of the face-off circle with Max Martin taking his place.
McDonald wins it back, the defenseman of Northern Michigan. Shot blocked by McKinley and away from Steinman. Dropped down in the corner was McKinley. Kurodia goes for a big check. Oh, a big hit there at McDonald, and a penalty coming. Landon McDonald's going to head off for 2. He had a goal yesterday, didn't have any penalty minutes. That'll be his first of the weekend. The Brighton, Michigan native is getting a talking to by fellow freshman Noah Morneau and wearing the orange and brown. And how big of an opportunity is this for the Falcons? 0 for 5 in the power play this weekend, and you have a chance to score and make this a 3-2 game. And a review for a major.
I want to give credit to the Falcon roster here. As one of their players receives that big hit, I feel like that's Waters who took the hit. McKinley was quick to jump on it and go for the puck. No one went for retribution. Tie game, if you get this kind of opportunity where at a minimum you get a 2-minute power play, you cannot erase any of it. I feel like at other parts of the season we would have seen a shoving match, maybe some punches thrown, and that has erased power plays for us many times this year.
You did see McKinley get in there a bit tight on the play, on maybe not retribution seeking, but
puck was still in the area, so I think he was just going for the puck there.
He was giving some cross checks. Waters certainly got buckled over. Don't know if there was anything major worthy, and this is a quick review, so I'd imagine it's not going to be major worthy.
We'll hear the
McDonald, not as key of a player to be tossed out of the game, and now he's going to step back into the box, so it is just a minor. Hitting from behind is the call, and a 2-minute minor. Doesn't matter how long it is, it's a must score for the 0 for 5 Bowling Green power play this weekend.
Fans in the Slater very upset. They wanted the major.
Waters, Morneau, Ryman out for the Falcons. Morneau and Ryman, the 2 best freshman scorers on the team. Waters, the best power play scorer over the last 2 seasons. And Braden Crampton, a point per game scorer in junior hockey last year. And Dalton Norris with power play presence and just a steady captainship. Here's Norris, slap shot, Ryman. Oh, it finds its way to the back wall. It beat Grandma, but didn't get on the cage. A good shot by Dom Ryman. He switches spots with Dalton Norris. Norris on the right wing, Crampton on the left wing. Fed over in the middle. Waters fanned on his shot. And now we're seeing a power play unit that's got a similar look to when Ryan O'Hara ran it last year for the Falcons at the point. And it looks like in that situation, Dom Ryman was looking to run the power play, as did O'Hara. As this is slapped down to the other end of the ice by Northern. So BGO reset, no change. To the right side, Braden Crampton, he's got some room, looks to pass it across. He fires it into Grandma, and he'll reach outside of the left post to grab the puck. We'll get a face-off to the left, it looks like, of Grandma. And now a new unit will step on. It looks like Minville, Grant, Duran, Emerson, and McKinley to play the blue line.
Grandma skates to the bench for, I believe, some repairs to his mask.
There wasn't anything tight, so whatever it was might have been nagging him for a while, and he wanted to get it fixed. Also a chance for him to get some smelling salts, it looked like there, and get a towel, get some water. Pretty much a timeout utilized as they attempt to fix his mask.
He skates back without his mask, so maybe
his mask is sitting on the net, so it wasn't anything
maybe,
with his mask.
Maybe it was just a timeout by, I think it might have just been a timeout by Northern Michigan. I just didn't.
Bleeding or a blister or something that he needed taken care of. They didn't announce a timeout, so it's not one taken by Northern Michigan.
Grandma led his team to the bench.
12:44 left to play in the third. 2-2 the score. The Falcons on a power play for the next $1.13. Down behind the goal line. Looked to be iced by Bull Duke, but he's stifled. A slap shot at the puck, but it's pinned up in the corner by the Falcons, who just try and keep it inside their own blue line. Peeled away by Bowling Green. Now back into the corner. Emerson out to the blue line. Held in by McKinley. McKinley moves toward the middle of the ice. To the left side, Duran. Duran works downhill to Emerson. Now back up to Duran, left side. Left wing wheel up to McKinley, who's in the middle at the point. Duran on the left side again. He's got Minville on the right side. McKinley in the center. Now McKinley will switch spots with Duran, who'll play the point now. Duran to McKinley. McKinley left wing wheel, looking in. He got it down deep to Emerson. Emerson with the puck. Now off the half wall, back up to the blue line. 30 seconds left to play in the power play. Bowling Green yet to make a move on this sequence. Here's Minville. It's down deep. Now back in the corner, iced down by Northern Michigan. 20 seconds left. You have a time for probably one more drive if you're the Falcons.
BG on power plays, it seems to me all weekend, has never, it feels like, set a screen on Grandma.
Why not? Down behind the goal line. Puck away, out to the right wing, Jake Sloan. So no power play unit on for the Falcons, the final. And McDonald out of the box. The shot across the slot, McDonald will peel it away as he plays. Tipped by Dalton Norris. Out to Why Not. Why Not in the offensive zone. He's got Sloan with him. Shot up to Grandma. Drops down on the doorstep. Nobody there to clean it up for the Falcons. Not the best save in the world by the junior goalie. Ciccarello's puck kept outside the blue line. Falcons with it, back in their own zone. 11 minutes left to play in the third period. A tie game and even ice here in the Slater Family Ice Arena. Tynan Ewert behind the goal. Brody Waters, Max Martin on the forecheck. A must-win in regulation for the Falcons that need to just split with the Wildcats. Up off the half wall, down to Steinman, who plays the puck away to Korodiak. Tips it over the stick of the defender. Martin to Morneau. Back to Martin. His shot barely directed away by Grandma.
Now another penalty.
Martin still down on the ice. A penalty is going to be assessed as Martin's just a bit worse for wear. And we might get another power play.
It will be another power play to Bowling Green, penalty to Northern Michigan.
This is 2 games in a row that the Wildcats have struggled in the third period to stay out of the box.
It's right in the middle like it was yesterday.
Bettens to the box. Now 2 power plays in a row, and they've lucked out with good kills and a lack of execution by the Falcons that there hasn't been a goal yet. 0 for 6, and now we're going to get another
review for a major.
Morneau with the puck here on the replay. Max Martin's hit a bit high.
I don't think that's major worthy.
No, that's just going to be a minor, but it
does give the Falcons a chance to catch their breath, discuss.
Certainly not intentional by Bettens.
Discuss strategy for this power play. One thing that I have noticed so far this weekend that has been, I would say, bugging me about the BG power plays is they move the puck well, but how they've been setting it up is they usually have 1 or 2 guys rotating among the point. They'll have 2 guys consistently at the hash marks, and one of them will rotate with the point. And then they'll have 2 right on the goal line. No one is in the blue paint, usually. No one is setting a screen. So when you do take a shot, Grandma has a clear sight of it the entire time. If BG, in my opinion, wants to start to score goals on their power play this weekend, they need to get someone consistently in front of Grandma. You can have one of the 2 people on the goal line. Whoever isn't on the side with the puck can transition in front of Grandma to set a consistent screen.
Well, they are doing that quite a bit. The issue is it's not connecting cleanly. As you see, Quinn Emerson and Noah Morneau have been playing at the goal line quite a bit. The puck hasn't been getting consistently to that man to the right or left of the net, and thus you haven't been able to cross the puck into the guy in front of the goal. And at the beginning of the season, you saw a lot of deep shots that you were hoping for rebound tries. It was relatively successful. Now, at least on the power play, you've moved away from that. You moved into trying to generate low chances from low chances. And the referee is going to go talk to Dave Shayak before they make the official call. Max Martin was hit high.
Ask if for another player to go serve this.
And nope, he's going to get in the box. So it's 2 minutes to Kyle Bettens. Contact to the head is the call. Kyle Bettens will sit for 2. 10:30 left to play in the third. A must-score power play again, as you're getting down to where it's more likely that you do score than you don't. You're 0 for 6 now. 0 for 4 actually 0 for 7 now. 0 for 4 today and 0 for 3 yesterday. Face off one back for Bowling Green. To the blue line, it's Dalton Norris. Norris with the puck to the left wing. Now back to Norris. Norris in the middle. To the left side. Fed into the slot by Crampton, and no shot there by the Falcons. Up to the blue line. Whistle blows, and we're going to get a hand pass. And the puck will leave the O zone, it looks like.
I would like to announce, even though the puck will be no longer in the offensive zone, as if Coach Willie has a headset down there listening to our broadcast, he did start to put a guy right in front of Grandma consistently.
Only 12 seconds elapsed on the power play. Bolduc and Waters getting into it a bit for stick position. Still battling for it. The linesman not too happy. Now Altrichter will be kicked out of the dot. Nope. Yep, he was told to get out of the dot. Now Bolduc will go in. Now Altrichter and Brody Waters will go at it. The face-off one back for Bowling Green outside of the offensive zone, so they'll have to get an entry. Here's Crampton with 10 minutes to go. Ryman's pass stifled by Altrichter with good body positioning. Here's Morneau through center to the right wing, Brody Waters. Waters streaking in, pass across the slot. Won't land anybody there, but gets to Ryman on the left wing, forces it back out to the blue line. D-to-D pass to Crampton. He's got a shooting lane. He shoots in, and it's blocked. Tynan Ewert a full cell. He's still down on the ice, limping. Crampton
serious
is
pain.
to that side again. Down Ryman, left side, moving it in to right side. Crampton shot in. Cleanup chance by Morneau. Out of the goal is Grandma. The puck kept out. Another shot in, and it's to the half wall behind. Grandma back in the crease.
Ewert's still out there.
Ewert is still
physical
limping.
discomfort.
That's another defenseman that's possibly down after this play's whistled dead. Here's Norris. The Falcons with the puck in the middle. To Norris on the right side where Ewert stands. He picks up his stick, so he's got at least some way of clearing the puck if he can. BG holds the puck inside the blue line. Norris back down to Morneau in the right wing corner with a lot of open ice. Ewert can't move. Morneau working in. His shot. Crampton got the puck back up to the blue line. Slap shot in, and it's cleared down by Northern Michigan. 30 seconds left to play in the power play.
Ewert will limp his way to the bench to get a change, along with the rest of the...
He is not too well off, is Tynan Ewert. The captain, junior defenseman, another captain, and a senior defenseman injured for Northern Michigan. That was yesterday. You could possibly have another one today. Emerson at the blue line, down to the right wing. Looked to be cleared by Burchill. BG with the puck, though. 10 seconds left to go. To the left side, you hear the slapping by Steinman. Here's Menville. Menville to the left side. Duran, his shot saved by Grandma into the netting. Out of the box comes Kyle Bettens. The media timeout will come around with the Falcons 0 for 7 on the power play this weekend. This one brought to you by Juniper Brewing Company, located at 145 South Main Street and downtown Bowling Green. Give them a visit and go to their website at juniperbrew.com. 2-2 Bowling Green, Northern Michigan, here in the Slater Family Ice Arena. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
On October 4th, 2024, BGSU volleyball opposite hitter Lauren Hovey recorded her 115th career service ace in BG's comeback reverse sweep of Western Michigan, passing Paige Penrod for the most in program history during the rally scoring era. Falcon Media Sports Network's Chaz McNeil had the call of the historic moment on WBGU 88.1 FM.
And that will make history. Lauren Hovey's 115th ace in the rally scoring era is in the history books as the Stroh Center applauds.
This has been a Falcon Media Sports Network featured call.
Check out recaps of this and every BGSU hockey match online at bgfalconmedia.com.
William Grama, the Stockholm, Sweden native, the best goaltender on the team right now for Northern Michigan, one of two that have played very well this season. Got the first win of the season. Is up to 30 saves today. That's his fourth consecutive game with 30-plus saves, 2 goals allowed, a mark that, aside from yesterday, he hadn't had since October 31st against Augustana. He has been outstanding this weekend. It's one of the only reasons that Northern Michigan has stayed in these games, and the Falcons have found little offensive success, as well as being 0 for 7 on their power plays this weekend. Puck behind the goal line and icing against Northern, so we'll drop puck again.
Govern, so used to being on penalty kills, they forgot that they can no longer ice it.
30-30, the face-off, so it's even playing field there. 19 minutes of penalty to the Falcons, 15 just to Tyler Hodson, but you take that away, only 2 penalties Bowling Green's committed. You compare that to 4 penalties Northern Michigan's committed, but no harm, no foul. Korodiak had his first earlier, looking for his second, but it's blocked up at the point. Keep an eye on Tynan Ewart as well if he sees ice time. Don't know whether he skated to the dressing room or not, but number 6, the captain defenseman, took a bad block and was noticeably shaken up as he skated over to the bench just about a couple of minutes ago. Shot in towards Steinman. He gloves, drops, and it's playable for Max Martin on the left side. Noah Morneau in center ice, slaps it ahead. Bowling Green would have been offsides, but they had no possession. Crampton will retrieve back in his own zone for an icing against Northern. 7:41 left to play in the third. 2-2 the score. 11 more shots on goal for the Falcons, who lead in this period 11-1. Duran in the dot, playing with Emerson and Minville. Duran to Emerson, who crashed right in front of the net, couldn't get a shot on goal off, the defenseman for Northern Michigan. Playing very well this weekend. And they were able to shut off what could have been a chance. Here's Emerson with the puck down behind the goal line. Duran worked in tight. Minville battling away at the puck.
Crampton thought it went in.
Yeah. No call from the referee, no horn. Grandma's slow to get up.
Potentially he was just looking for the puck within his gear. He seems to be no worse for wear.
Minville arguing that there should have been something. Yeah, you saw backhand by Duran. It was up in the chest, and Minville was hammering away at the chest. So now we'll drop puck again. Ben Duran. Glenn, as he's known by players on the team, that's his nickname. It doesn't relate at all to his name, but I believe it's relating to Ty Eigner's dog, a goaltender last season for Bowling Green. Hit there from Minville, the puck away to the right side. Here's Jakob Altrichter. Down the right wing comes Altrichter. Burcho was lap ahead. Offsides is the call against the Wildcats. 7 minutes left to go. They haven't really gained an entry in quite a while. Jake Sloan in for the draw. The fourth line's seen limited minutes in this third period. Levis, Sloan, and Wynot.
All freshman line.
Bowling Green's trying to shorten their bench a little bit. Seen very little of Jack Blake and Rihard Simonovic as well. Pretty much 2 defensive pairings and 3 lines of forwards for the Falcons. Here's Caden Galt. Galt with the shot in, high of the rack, but Steinman gloves it anyway.
That was another big save there by Steinman.
Galt looking for his third. He got his 7th and 8th of the season today. Within the first minute of the second period, and then at around the 10-minute mark in the second period. And so both goals for Northern Michigan have been Caden Galt's.
He is on hat-trick watch.
A team leader for goals this season, the team leader for Ferris State in goals last season. A very impactful player, the senior out of Oak Bank, Minnesota. Tynan Ewart back out on the ice, so he's okay. And back skating again, although a little bit gingerly. Bowling Green with the puck in their own zone. Lead pass up to Ryman. Did he get a tip? He did not. It's whistled dead icing. The game is ground up pretty slow now, as neither team really wanted to make too many mistakes, and that's resulted in some deep passes to get the puck out of their own end, and a lot of gloves by the goaltenders. Make sure that there's not any lucky plays that could result in an opponent goal. Jaden Grant in for the draw. Wins it back to Breck McKinley. McKinley gets it poked away as he tried to clear it. Bettens to Dempsey. Out to Cleach. Cleach the shot in. Drop down in front of Steinman. He's able to cover it up. Simonovic and Hutchinson going at it right in front of the screen. Steinman.
Both teams go for changes, trying to keep the legs young.
Karodiak and Norris out. Weird to say that Karodiak's been one of the better offensive players today. Karodiak up to 3 shots, 1 shot on goal, a goal and an assist for Ivan Karodiak today. Assisted on Jeremy Minville's first goal of the game as a stick broke there and also scored a goal.
Penalty.
We're going to get a penalty.
Not sure against who or for what.
High sticking. And it's going to go against the Falcons.
Maxwell Martin. No.
Nope. Oh, it's just a high.
Oh, a high stick puck.
Okay. Based on the signal, I thought it was a high sticking penalty.
Ivan Karodiak has more points tonight than he did in his entire career leading up to tonight.
That is a fact. Down behind the goal line offensively, Max Martin in. He keeps the puck behind the goal. That was played by Graham. Crampton banks it away. Falcons out of position a bit. Up to the blue line. Held inside the blue line by Bowling Green in the offensive zone. And it's flipped out. Max Martin decides to reverse field. It's to the right side now. Crampton able to hold the puck in. A D-to-D pass to Norris. Norris a shot in. Oh, just wide left of the goal. Never got to Grandma. Battling in front there was Brody Waters. Morneau at the puck to wrap it out to Norris. The captain to Crampton. Crampton the shot in. Knocked down in front. Grandma standing tall. Grandma's done such a good job of just getting big and not playing the puck as much as you'd normally like to with so many deflections coming from the Falcons.
Exactly. The 6'3" goaltender. Consistently, every time he gets an opportunity, you'll see him freeze the puck, try and let his team control pace, not let Bowling Green get into a rhythm.
Duran in for the draw. Somebody jumped. It was Ben Duran. For the faceoff will come Minville. Emerson will go to the right side. Duran will go to the left side. Faceoff for the freshman against Altrichter, and Altrichter wins that one. Hit there on Bolduc. Will turn the puck over to the Falcons, but back in their own end. Orange and brown with the puck to the left side. Karodiak searching for a pass up through center. Ben Duran down the left wing. Ben Duran looking for a pass. He's knocked down to the ice. The whistle blows. The puck is covered up by Grandma as Duran was wasted to the half wall behind. 5:12 left to play in the third.
It is weird to see Bowling Green struggle as much as they have in the faceoff dots. Not winning as much as they usually do, not being kicked out consistently. Going into this weekend, they had the second best team faceoff percentage in the NCAA, only behind the University of Wisconsin.
No more, no. 14-7. Ben Duran 5-9. Jaden Grant 6-9, and those are your best 3 centers. Grant, the puck is away to the right side. The Falcon forwards will chase. Ryman out to the blue line. Crampton D-to-D pass to get open ice. Norris, the shot. Oh, just wide again. Up to center ice. Played by Norris. Bettens is being held on to a little bit. Now Grant gains the entry. Zlinka open on the right side. Now he's shut off. Behind the goal line. Dempsey presses up his man Grant. Now Ryman in there with Ciccarello. Ciccarello takes Ryman into the boards. Puck pinned up. 5:30 left to play in the third period. 2-2, the tie for the Falcons and the Wildcats. Northern Michigan, Hutchinson to the middle. Down the right wing. Comes Warren Clark. His shot, and he scores! The junior defenseman beats Steinman under his right leg, and he gives Northern Michigan a 3-2 lead.
That is Clark's first goal of the season, his second career tally. A quick shot from the hash marks. The Tampa Bay Lightning prospect beats Steinman on the blocker side.
Just put it right under his wing. Such a nice shot by the defenseman. Seeing a defenseman clinic this weekend, at least from Northern Michigan. They've contributed greatly offensively and defensively. Playing a D-man down today, and they haven't really missed a beat. Whereas the Falcons playing 2 D-men down, they really have missed a beat. They have not been the same team that we watched all season. That split with Minnesota State. That split with St. Thomas. That did so many good things in so many games. Under 4 left to play in the third. BG needs a goal. The ice is tilted back to Northern Michigan. Falcons with the puck. Morneau out to the blue line. McKinley to the left side. Simonovic with the puck. Peels it back around at the blue line. Still holding onto it. It's poked away into the corner. Simonovic maybe holding onto a puck a little bit too long there. It's into the corner. Brody Waters into the offensive zone. Morneau to slap at the puck. He's tied up. To the left side, the defenseman, McKinley. McKinley works in. His shot blocked. Peeled away by Galt. And up to center and out. 3:15 left to go in the third, and one breakaway for Northern Michigan has made the difference. It's 2 goals that they've scored on stark breakaways. The defensemen are just a bit late back. Aiden Hutchinson, the assist on Warren Clark's goal. Shot in toward Grandma, directs it into the corner. Pass up the ice, now down the right wing comes Burchill. Burchill with the puck, to the middle, Altrichter. Altrichter shot, saved by Steinman.
That's a big save by Steinman, trying to keep this game within reach for the Falcons. If he lets that one by, you can all but kiss the chance of a regulation win goodbye.
2:49 left to play in the third period. And both games, you look back to 3 power plays yesterday, 4 power plays today. No scores on any of the 7 attempts. And 1 in each game, 1 in one game is the difference. That's probably going to make between 3 points and no points. McKinley crossed in by Bettens, back out to the blue line. High slot shot by Ciccarello. And Northern Michigan will have to fire in offsides. 2:30 left to play in the third. Falcons got to put it together quick. Lead pass up to Dom Ryman. Ryman off the half wall. Deep to Dempsey. Jaden Grant in behind the goal line. Now to the left wing. Dom Ryman goes for a check. Misses it and puck away to Norris, who keeps it inside the blue line. Falcons go for a change. Northern can't expose him on it. Clark feeds it in. No one to chase for the green and gold. They switch up. Still Collins and Caden Galt and Matthew Argentina up on the forecheck. Here's Waters in the corner. Bowling Green with the puck now in the O-zone. Waters to slice it in front. Taken away by Northern Michigan. Galt off the half wall through the neutral zone. Falcons to play it again. Lead pass up. Waters on sides. Martin the shot. Off of Galt. Up high in the air to the right wing now. It's skated outside the blue line by Caden Galt. Off the glass. Waters goes for a check. Just a bit late. Dave Shyak wants a penalty. We're going to get a face-off center ice.
1:35. Steinman going to start looking towards the bench for the signal from Coach Willie.
Not a lot of time. And this is about the time that you'll pull Steinman, assuming you can win the draw. And a timeout will be called by head coach Dennis Williams. So Willie talking some things out. He can't put a off-the-draw play in order because the face-off is not in the offensive zone. It's in the neutral zone. Steinman still stays in his net, assuming as soon as the Falcons win the faceoff, he'll be skating to the bench.
A very disappointing series so far for Bowling Green. Well, it's not over yet. A series that many thought you could totally sweep, a complete point sweep. Eventually move up in the standings.
Essentially guaranteed that you cannot win the series. Because even if you're able to score a goal, the odds of you scoring 2 and $1.35 is near zero. So Northern's going to come away with at least 4 points.
And BG will be at the...
And hard to say that the Falcons deserve to take any more points than they do. They've made Northern Michigan look much better than an 0-16 team coming into the weekend. And a team in Northern Michigan that's beat up and down 2 men today and have committed all the penalties in the world. Here's Morneau in for the draw in the neutral zone. Wins it back to McKinley. To the left side, Crampton, Steinman out of the net and to the bench. 6 skaters on for the Falcons. Quinn Emerson in with the puck on the boards. Gets it to McKinley. To the left side, McKinley playing the point in the middle. To the right side, here's Ryman down to the goal line. The Falcons working to tie the game up. McKinley, the shot in to the half wall behind. Grandma is in. It pushed in! Back to the crease goes Grandma. And the Falcons able to tie it up at 3-0 with $1:15 to go.
Quinn Emerson had a 7-game point streak erased last night. Starts a new one tonight with a crucial tying goal. 1:15 remains in regulation.
His 5th goal of the season. 18:45, the time of the goal. And the Falcons have tied it up and hoping to force overtime.
On the replay, this might not go to... No, it will. It'll go to Emerson. Just found its way through Grandma.
Waters was standing there in the blue paint. The only thing I could see happening here is a review.
But
I don't know if Waters interfered with Grandma's ability to make the save.
And there is the review. I do not believe anything will come of this.
Waters was in the blue paint. It's just whether or not you believe that you interfered with Grandma's ability to make the save.
That is true.
Hopefully they'll show the replay. Either way, $1:15 left to play in the 3rd. And heartbreaking if this is turned away from the Falcons. So here we see Grandma in the goal on his left post. The shot in with Waters in front. Now he's on the right side of the crease, back to the middle. Waters still camped out trying to screen
He's on the blue
Grandma
paint
the
yet.
best that he can. Waters is in the blue paint, does not make contact with Grandma though. And that was a bit early. Waters back out, pass off the half wall. That's back out to the blue paint. Waters is in the blue paint, never made contact.
He never
with
made
Grandma.
contact, and the only time he was
So this
fully
is going to be clean.
The only time he was fully, like in my opinion, shoved, where both skates were inside the blue paint, was when he was shoved in by Cleach, so the Northern Michigan defender. If you, as a defender, shove the opposing team into your own netminder or into the blue paint, that is not goaltender interference.
So this should stand as a goal. And they're still taking their time to look at it, but no contact was made.
The goal light is being shown behind the net, still flashing, much to the enjoyment of the fans here at the Slater Family Ice Arena. And the refs will now leave the box, and we will get the official call.
Yeah, no goaltender interference as we thought. And the goal stands, and it's a tying goal for Quinn Emerson. His 5th of the season, the 3rd goal of the game for the Falcons. Assisted by Breck McKinley, his 2nd assist, and Dom Ryman. McKinley's got 13 on the season. Ryman has 8. The Falcons drop puck in center. Altrichter with Morneau in the center dot. Altrichter still yapping to the referee. Now the puck is dropped. 1 back for Bowling Green. tied up the faceoffs, 37 apiece. Puck in the neutral zone. Caden Galt in for the puck, back over toward Grandma. He'll push it back into play. Northern Michigan definitely happy to skate away with this into overtime, just to make sure that they get more points than the Falcons do, no matter what happens in the overtime. Warren Clark rinks it back around to Simonovic. Left on the half wall. Max Martin with the puck. Clears it away. Open ice for Emerson. The Falcons go for a change instead of putting together offense. Emerson the shot in. End of the half wall to the right side. 41 seconds to go. Crampton knocked down to the ice. A penalty wanted by the Falcons. Caden Galt. His pass pushed up the center. Max Martin on sides. On the left wing comes Martin. Kicked into the corner as Grandma off of his right shoulder. 28 seconds left to go in the third period. Granner back out to the blue line. Norris back down to the right side. To the blue line again. Will not get to the defenseman Crampton. It's pushed outside the line by Northern Michigan. 10 seconds to go. Northern Michigan with the puck. Neutral zone. Fed around to Steinman. 5 seconds to go. Falcons to pass up. It's in front of their own bench. Minville the outlet pass. Ryman works in. His shot off of the stick. Into the glass. We're heading to 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime here in the Slater Family Ice Arena.
Not what you wanted if you're the Falcons, but you will take it. Because as much as you were hoping for a complete sweep, gaining 2 points at maximum is better than gaining none.
Northern Michigan will skate away from the weekend with a guaranteed 4. They can add more in the overtime, though, and given how their offense is done against the Falcons, hard to not favor them in this 3-on-3, but the Falcons have a good unit for 3-on-3, though. St. Thomas with a 4-1 lead over Lake State in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's with just a couple of seconds expired in the third period, so St. Thomas most likely going to come away with a win today. And no update on Minnesota State, Ferris State, and Augustana and Bemidji, at least on my phone right now.
I saw Augustana and Bemidji got postponed an hour due to ice conditions at the arena.
That's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so the Midco
that
arena.
would just now be getting started within the next little bit.
And then Minnesota State currently trailing 3-0 to Ferris State. Caden Brown, Gavin Best, and Xavier Jean-Louis, the 3 goals scored by Ferris State.
Now that would be an upset. Minnesota State.
It's the number 1 team in the CCHA against Ferris State, who's only got 5 points, I believe, in conference play. And big upsets this weekend if that completes.
The last time that Minnesota State lost a game, technically, was a shootout loss to BG, but that is technically written down as a draw. So the last time they lost a game in overtime or regulation was all the way back on November 1st against St. Thomas, where they lost in overtime.
3-on-3, 5-minute overtime coming up for the Falcons and the Wildcats. An improbable goal toward the end of the game by Quinn Emerson with the extra attacker. Back-to-back games with an extra attacker goal. Only one of them ties it up, and that's today. Breck McKinley and Dom Ryman the assists. The first goal by the Falcons, Jeremy Minvilles. The second goal, Ivan Karodiaks. 2 goals have been scored by Caden Galt for Northern Michigan, and one of them by Warren Clark. What was the go-ahead goal? It didn't stand to be the game winner, but still put Bowling Green in a spot to only tie it up. Ryman and Grant out as forwards, and McKinley out as a defenseman. Altrichter and Still Collins and the face-off, along with Tynan Ewart. I'm sorry, that's Zane Dempsey, number 9, not number 6, Ewart. Dempsey behind his goal after the face-off win by Northern Michigan. Northern Michigan will most likely finish the game with more face-offs. They lead by 1 right now. It's been pretty 50-50. Dom Ryman now with the puck as Northern Michigan gives it back. Ryman down the right wing. He comes into the offensive zone, defended by Altrichter. Puts the brakes on, now back toward the blue line. Altrichter gives him a bump. Dom Ryman still with the puck, turns it back around. Loses it, but it's picked up by McKinley. At the blue line, Breck McKinley, defended by Zane Dempsey, the defenseman on the defenseman. Disc pass to Grant. Grant will skate out of the zone. Wait for Ryman to get a change for Emerson, and McKinley to get a change for Crampton. Emerson in the corner. The puck away. So Collins knocked down to the ice, and Bowling Green will commit a penalty. Jaden Grant not happy.
Fans not happy. Not sure what
I
the call
didn't see too
be.
much. Maybe a holding. Slashing. See if they show the replay. Grant will serve too.
Northern Michigan player did lose his stick on the play, but
not happy about the call, the alternate captain. Although slashing's pretty cut and dry. At least we guarantee this will not be reviewed for a major. And Northern will use their timeout.
So we still will have a break. 4-on-3 power play for Northern Michigan coming up.
1 for 5 on their power plays today. They did not score a power play goal yesterday. But their one is one more than the Falcons have had. Bowling Green 0 for 7 this weekend, 3 yesterday. And big spots that could have at least tied the game and forced overtime in their 3 situations. And today, 4 situations that if they had scored on one of them, probably would have got them the win. So Collins probably did get his stick slashed out of his hand, so most likely a good call. And here we go, a 4-on-3 for Northern Michigan and 3-on-3 overtime.
In the event,
Norris, Levis, and Emerson out to kill.
In the event,
Argentina, Altrichter, and Galt along with Ewert.
In the event that BG fully kills off this penalty, there will be about 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the overtime.
Levis in against Altrichter to the right of Jacob Steinman. Steiny's got 22 saves, 3 goals allowed. Falcons have not allowed as many shots on goal as Northern Michigan has, but they've had a better shot percentage by far. 3 goals on their 22 saves. Here, left side, slap shot across Steinman and back down into the other end off the curved corner.
BG goes for a change. Martin, Morneau, and I can't quite make out the last one right now.
You were to the left side. It's Altrichter to center ice, Argentina. Leaves it back for Galt. Now to the middle, Ewert again. To the left side, Argentina. Now back to Ewert at the top point. To Galt. A box formation for Northern Michigan. 2 guys at the goal line, 2 guys just above the face-off circles. Here's Galt. Galt works in. His shot cleared away by Bowling Green off the block. Now skating it out actually is Max Martin. He sweeps it up into the offensive zone. A good shift there by Max Martin in this penalty kill unit off of McKinley's stick and up into the crowd. 3:08 left to go and overtime number 1.
Penalty killers for BG now. Quinn Emerson with Dalton Norris and Simonovich.
Emerson in for the draw. He loses it back. Emerson, Simonovich, and Norris, 2 defensemen out for Bowling Green. To the right side, Burchill. Burchill down the wing, now to the left side. Up to Warren Clark. Clark with the puck, has a goal. Looking for a shooting lane, now gives it up to the left side, Burchill. Burchill fakes to give it to Clark, now does give it to Clark. Clark down to the left wing. Played there, now back out to Burchill. Burchill's shot is blocked. Full sell by Norris. Norrie's been doing a good job on those blocks today. He's put the body on the line. The captain has for his team.
He is slow to the bench.
Yeah, and
he will make it there.
Dan Fisher, the trainer, is giving him a look, or at least giving him a tap as he's trying to shake that off. Hutchinson on the left wing to Clark in the middle. Clark works in. His shot blocked again by Connor Levis. That's under his knee. Back out to Warren Clark. Clark feeds it in deep. Tipped over to Steinman, who's able to shut it off with 2 seconds to go on the power play. Big kill by the Falcons. Grant will come out in 2 seconds, assuming that Northern doesn't get a quick shot in the next 2.
Norris seems to still be wincing in pain on the bench, getting some pats on the back by both teammates and assistant coach Curtis Carr.
8 blocks today for the Falcons, 3 of them to the captain, wearing number 14 in his final season in the orange and brown. Into the dot, Altrichter, 1 back for Bowling Green. Crampton, a weird bounce off the half wall. Grant out of the box to play. We'll get 4-on-4 until we get a stoppage. Caden Galt gives it up to Bowling Green. Using the net to get some room. Simonovic almost turns it over. He's at the half wall, and he gives it back. Bowling Green back in their own zone. 1:50 left to go in overtime before we head to shootouts. Up through his own zone comes Crampton. Crampton with Morneau ahead, and now he peels back around. This pass out to, now back to Crampton. In the corner, that was Ryman that gave it up. Now Ryman again. Dominic Ryman, the freshman, to the right wing. All the way in comes McKinley. It's in the left wing corner now for Emerson. Behind the goal, Ryman. Back out to McKinley, who was camped out to get a slap shot. Tried to be held inside the blue line. Couldn't do it. Back on sides. Ryman just barely with Emerson there. Emerson working in. Fans on his shot. Here's McKinley. Shoots. He scores! Breck McKinley wins it for the Falcons. 4-3 in overtime for his first goal of the season and his 3rd point of the night.
Coach Billy said this was a must-win game, and his team delivered in overtime.
Quinn Emerson with the feed. We'll see if he gets an assist. But the Falcons win it, take 2 points out of 6 available on the weekend. At least a better feeling skating out of today's game. The Falcons with a 4-3 overtime victory over Northern Michigan, who took their first 4 points toward the CCHA this season. Austin Roos, Kevin Hutchinson awaiting you guys back in the Cooling Center studios. Nathan Burkett, myself, Ben Korak, saying goodnight here from the Slater Family Ice Arena. You're listening to Falcon Hockey on WBGU 88.1 FM.
Bowling Green women's basketball travels to the Northern Illinois Huskies in DeKalb, Illinois on Saturday, January 10th. Falcon Media Sports Network's Lucas Kleinmeyer will have live play-by-play action with pregame coverage starting at 2:45 and tip-off set for 3 o'clock. Only on WBGU 88.1 FM.
You're listening to 88.1 WBGU, where we're looking to make radio indie again. From blues and jazz to rock and metal, and even pop and folk, 88.1 WBGU FM features a variety of genres played by our diverse group of DJs. You can expect something different every time you tune in. 88.1 WBGU. Return to Radio Freedom.
Don't have time to tune into a BGSU sports broadcast? Falcon Media Sports Network will have you covered with live updates of home BGSU athletic events. To follow along, head over to @BG_FMSN on Twitter X.
Hey, what's this show?
It's the Blues Breakfast. It's probably good for you.
Did you try it?
I'm not gonna try it, you try it.
I'm not gonna try it.
Let's get Mikey.
Yeah.
He won't listen, he hates everything.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Be like Mikey. Catch the Blues Breakfast every Saturday morning from 10 to 2 on 88.1, Ohio's premier blues radio show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Cooling Center for your men's Falcon hockey post-game report. I am Austin Roos, and I'm here with Kevin Hutchinson, and we have our Bill and Karen Hoffert 3 stars of the game. Tonight's stars of the game are presented by Bill and Karen Hoffert, longtime BGSU hockey fans and Falcon Club members. So, Kevin, who do you have for the 3rd star of the game?
Well, Austin, I think for the 3rd star of the game, I'm going to go with Ivan Korodiak for the Falcons. He had 2 points. He had 1 goal, and he also had an assist as well. Just a solid performance from him. He really helped the Falcons get over the top in this game.
Yeah, with Korodiak, that's his first goal of the season. We heard it mentioned on the broadcast, 2 points on the game, more than he's had in entire seasons. So for the 2nd star of the game, I have Northern Michigan's Caden Golt with 2 goals on the night, 2 points. Of course, off of those 2 goals, and both of them came in that second period of play, the first one coming a minute in, as the Falcons had just previously taken the lead late in the first period. Caden Golt came out, evened things up for Northern Michigan, really got them momentum in that period, where later on a power play, Caden Golt would catch in another goal for Northern Michigan, giving them the lead at the time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for your 1st star, who else but Breck McKinley for the Falcons? 2 assists and the game-winning goal in OT. He just really was pretty much responsible for pushing BG over the top when it mattered. He made plays when it mattered, and I think he was easily BG's most valuable player tonight.
All right, and that was the Bill and Karen Hoffert 3 stars of the game. Tonight's stars of the game presented by Bill and Karen Hoffert, longtime BGSU hockey fans and Falcon Club members. When we come back with the post-game show, we'll have a rundown of what happened throughout the game, and then we will go into our roundtable discussion of different stories, of things that happened within the game, and then we will check out what happened in the CCHA before sending the broadcast home for the night. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with the post-game show.
BGSU women's basketball stays home at the Stro to take on the Lord's University Grey Wolves on Sunday, December 14th. WBGU 80.1 FM will have live play-by-play coverage with tip-off at 2 p.m. from Falcon Media Sports Network's Adam Duffin and Trey Kennedy, and pregame beginning at 1:35 p.m. on WBGU 80.1 FM.
Hi, this is Christine Lavin. Please listen to The Folk Show, hosted by my old friend David Sears, Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. on WBGU 88.1 and streaming at bgfalconmedia.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm Austin Roos here back at the Cooling Center with Kevin Hutchinson for your Falcon hockey post-game report. And Kevin, what happened in that game tonight?
Well, I think it was obviously a win for the Falcons, an overtime win, which you would have preferred a win in regulation for the playoff points. But I think it's a reassuring sign on the whole for this Falcon team, not giving up back-to-back losses, coming back to tie it up in the 3rd period. I think this game showed that the team, at the very least, is resilient and able to stay in a game and able to come back when it counts. And so I think that's a good note to end on, especially since they don't play another conference game for the next 4 weeks.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of storylines going into this game. Of course, the Falcons having a lot of injury problems on the defensive side of things. And I think it did show at some points in the game. We saw Northern Michigan making runs, especially in that second period where they really looked like they had all the momentum on the offensive side of things. But much like what happened in last night's game, in the 3rd period, it was pretty much all the Falcons up until score late from Northern Michigan. But in terms of just like time of possession and shots. I think the Falcons in that third period specifically for the last two nights have been the team really pushing the envelope. They had 34 shots in the third period and 17 of those shots on goal.
For sure. I think I talked about in the first intermission how with 20 shots in the first period, BG was on pace for 60 shots across the game. Now, they did go to overtime, so that does skew this a little, but BG totaled 79 shots on the day, so they were not afraid to be aggressive. I think the thing they got to work on for future games, though, out of those 79 shots, only 39 of them were on goal. So a lot of issues with accuracy and puck placement, something they're going to want to work on moving forward.
Yeah, and something Ben and Nathan mentioned on the broadcast, which popped up on the weekend, 0-7 on the power play. And I know that's something Coach Williams is just not going to stand up for in a game like this. Of course, every game is tough, but when you're facing a team that is certainly considered an underdog compared to how you're playing third in the CCHA, competing for a higher seed compared to Northern Michigan, you definitely want to show up. And even in a win, there can be the good and the bad. And I think there is definitely a lot of things that could be considered not great for the Falcons tonight, and power play being one of those highlights.
Yeah, definitely. There's really no excuse for that. I mean, when the other team is giving you opportunities and you're not converting on those opportunities, I mean, that's really a tough reality. Good news for the Falcons, though. They do have some time to collect themselves. They do have some time to work on those fundamentals before they take on Ferris State in January. But yeah, still just a little concerning. I mean, I think this is a series that the Falcons expected to win both games in regulation, get a whole bunch of playoff points, and unfortunately, lost the first game, won the second one in OT. Just not the result they were looking for from this series at all.
Absolutely. And around the CCHA, we have some interesting storylines going on. Ferris State with a 3-0 lead versus the top-ranked Minnesota State. Mentioned on broadcast, Minnesota State hadn't lost a game technically since the beginning of November. They had a shootout loss, but the last time they lost in regulation or in overtime was the very beginning of November. So that is a interesting game to watch. Only 12 minutes and 44 seconds left in that one. If Minnesota State is going to come back from this upset, they're going to have to do it quickly. For St. Thomas versus Lake Superior State, St. Thomas has a 4-1 lead over Lake Superior State. Two teams pretty close in the standings to one another, but St. Thomas looks like it's going to pull through and pull through some more points in the CCHA, which the standings as of now, we have Minnesota State at 1, Bemidji State at 2nd place, Bowling Green at 3rd place, Augustana at 4th place. Michigan Tech at 5th place, St. Thomas at 7th place, the Lakers at 8th place, Lakers at 7th place, Ferris State 8th place, and then Michigan at that last spot, Northern Michigan at that last spot. But if you're Northern Michigan, I think there's a lot of good to take away from this weekend.
Yeah, I think there definitely is. I mean, they showed some fight. They showed some competitiveness. Caden Galt had a good series, 3 total goals on the series. He did very well. So, yeah, they definitely have building blocks. I mean, the only thing with Northern Michigan, they have a grueling schedule over the next month. They have that St. Thomas series, Lake Superior State, and then Augustana, and they just pretty much have an unbroken series of CCHA games right up until late February. So they're sort of in that final stretch now. But getting their first win in this series, it's going to help them approach the rest of the year with a little bit more confidence.
And Northern Michigan with a little bit of momentum, and the Falcons kind of getting it back. What are some of the final thoughts that you have on the Falcons tonight in the series, and kind of looking forward? We know we have that break coming up, but going into 2026, what should the Falcons be feeling momentum-wise?
They should be feeling like they have a lot of work to do. I think they got to go back to the drawing board. There are a lot of issues with how they played in this series. And while their resilience in tonight's game is admirable, they need to make sure that they're not putting themselves in a situation where they need to come back against a worse team. So there's a lot of work they got to do, especially when it comes to their shot making, being precise, taking advantage of power plays. I just think they're going to spend the next month, especially with their exhibition against USA Hockey, trying to iron some of those things out. So,
absolutely. And with that will do it from us here at the Cooling Center for the post-game report. I've been Austin Roos here with. Would you like to give a final?
Yeah,
farewell?
with Kevin Hutchinson. Yeah, no, it's been great being here with you, Austin, and covering this game. Obviously, a better result than yesterday when I was in the studio, but just, great to be covering some CCHA hockey and looking forward to doing more of it in January.
And we want to give a special thanks and shout out to our director, Lucas Kleymeier, and our Falcon media manager, Carl Smith, for allowing us to be able to do this. I want to thank Ben Korak and Nathan for making the great calls tonight for such an exciting game. And that'll do it for us. Just want to say farewell and thank you to everyone who's listened tonight. I Ziggy.